Gamescape 3D. Today we're going to be going
What's up, Chuck?
Release of our
I'm here, man.
Cliffs. We have a lot to go over, so let's get to it.
Oh,
all right, before we jump in and see how this thing is standing up, let's look at some of our smaller features. Some of these figures out of the way. All right, you're going to have a folder in there called Magnet Face Cliffs. Those refer to a few specialty
early,
that we have here. You can see this tree right here. Actually, just pops
sound
off.
okay.
And after you pop it off, you can go ahead. I have a door.
So hopefully it
piece
sounds
you
good.
Can swap in there. I also just have a plain cliff face. You can swap right. You can You can pop in there. Okay. So
sound check.
On an adventure and someone says a magic word, maybe that makes a door appear in the side of a cliff for you to enter inside or whatever. So this one right next to it is another swappable one. We have a cave entrance. These things blend in real well. Okay. On the tabletop, as you can see.
Well, I guess we're good.
So there we go.
I didn't get out a lot of shout outs for this.
Just that simple.
It was a
and then
it was a rough morning, here. Getting up, man.
Shelves right here. This whole thing comes off. Okay, and there's your magnet faces on the back. You're also going to have
Rob's in the game right now. Falcon Myth, believe it or not, he's playing Josh's game, which is this morning.
Magnets. We're using 3 by 8 millimeter magnets.
It's crazy, isn't it? He's like all over.
Something with a little more punch than the 2x6s I usually use. So you can see the open locks being useful in some cases. Mostly, I think.
No, the game Rob's in. No, it's Greyhawk Reborn game.
Because you will get into situations where the magnet polarity isn't set up correctly for what you want to do.
Let me go on to
those open locks will
let me go into the Greyhawk events
override the magnets pushing away from each other. In terms of this base here, you can use any 1/4-inch material. I'm using hardboard here.
Let's see.
You could use 1/4-inch cardboard, 1/4-inch foam core, some kind of plastic.
There's a game on
plexiglass, anything
2
you got available. You could even use 1/8-inch material and shim it up a little bit, or
game on
double it up.
Reborn 2.
So there's the hardboard I'm using.
Just looking.
Okay, and these set right on top. I'll go ahead and move these out of the way so you can sort of see the front
Josh's
mechanism.
Game.
Okay, so we got magnets all along here, and these are just the tops
of
the cliffs. Your board sets right in here, and you do not need to cut
I'm probably going to be babbling through this, but Anna's on too.
Overlap coverage there, as you can see.
But we're going to give it a shot here.
Most spots you're looking at up to an inch of coverage.
Good morning.
If you're
there we go.
Half an inch,
turn off the speakers.
Yeah.
Take care of it. And then
my voice is kind of gone. I forgot how much I talked during the joust.
And hold things into place.
Yeah, that's when you run a lot of events at the con. My voice was kind of bad at the end of my game too yesterday.
Yeah.
For the one I'm releasing you.
And now I failed my deck save this morning. I got tangled up some cables and I banged my foot.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, so we'll see.
You figured out how to raid last night, though.
Oh, yes, I figured out how to raid. I wrote, it was a /raid, and I thought there should be a / command, and I did / command, and there was a whole list of commands, and I realized I write just Lord Goosebumba, and that was it.
That's it. Awesome.
Yeah.
There are a few features that I'm not showing today that will be available in your
I don't know if I have my... Hopefully, I think I have these other screens set. I can't... I prepped this all a day or two ago. So,
oh, good. I haven't prepped much with this, so yeah.
And that's whoever's on is on, and we'll just talk a little bit. Some ideas. gonna give my background. Yeah, a comment. We're doing at least one $10 Troller Game gift certificate. I'm burning through those like candy, Chuck. Then if you're on, we'll talk about tonight. But well, I'll go over. First thing we'll do is go over the winners from last night, and they all have prize money from Troller Games, kind of. One second here. What am I doing? Hit that button. Technically, this is going to be a Gabbin, so I'll add another one in on the ear there. It is the right one too. Wow. Yes. Awesome. Yes, that's awesome. That's perfect. That's perfect. Yeah, man. Awesome. Thanks. Okay. I can't remember the last time I streamed on a Sunday morning. If ever. I'm thinking back. I don't know. I must have, but I just don't remember. Crazy. Alright. People will be rolling in here and we'll just talk. This will be good because we'll get it on be on Twitch 90 days and on YouTube permanently, so yep. Alrighty. Let's see if the screens are all good. For the most part, they are. Hey, Anna. Good
Hello.
Sunday morning to you. Wow. So far, so good. This is day 4, final day of Virtual GreyHawk 5.
Yeah, we barely survived. Yeah.
Yeah, we have. Barely, I guess is a good word, but
well, I missed my deck save this morning. I banged my foot in just like 5 minutes ago. I got tangled up in some cables and I missed my save. So
there you go.
So we'll see.
On.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I hope you're doing okay.
Oh, it's okay. It hurts a bit, but I'll get over it.
We have just to give everyone an update on what is going on today, real quick. Let's see here. Sunday. Let me bring that up and put it over here. And okay. So let's see. So we have this on this morning. New to Greyhawk. Let's talk from 10 to 12. And Garner goes Tower of Inverness from 12 to around 3 or 4. Guild Superior Far Cry 3 until 7, and then the Ask the Expert show, closing up everything with Roger, Joe, Block, Malden, and Grodog. And that's where we are. I know, and Ticklish at work, it kind of worked out. There was no football. And pretty soon there's going to be no baseball with that game last night, so my wife's really furious. But, hey, what's up, Troy?
Morning.
So all right, we're going to just talk a little here, and questions are always welcome. Ideas for the questions, a feeder question's always welcome. But let's start at the beginning, okay? And that is, and this is not the document I would recommend for everyone to start with.
No, it's, yeah.
But Alex, if you can nix that would be great. But this is where I started. So I'm a kid. We're playing Holmes Basic, 1978, 79, just running games. This comes out in 1980, along with a lot of the other things. What's up, Sam? I'll hop you in 11. Okay, sound good? This comes out in 1980, along with the Player's Handbook First Edition, all the other things that come out, and I absorb it like crazy. So we're playing, and then I meet also in 80. I meet Walt and Tim, and so I already knew Alan back then. But I want to share here this brief history of Eastern Auric. It's kind of the things that hooked me on Greyhawk when I first came on was the cover, and here's the original, or an original, right? The cover is covered with all this great heraldry and a cool map. It just was awesome, right?
Mhm.
I'm like, wow.
In a way, I think it's in a lot of ways, it's the best cover ever made for Greyhawk, for any Greyhawk product, even the box set. I think this one takes the box set. I love the kind of it's the drawing and the heraldry and stuff. So this is the design I want. If they used the same layout and just improved it over the years, would have been a fantastic thing for Greyhawk, I think.
Yeah,
They should have kept it and just improved on it. I know that you want to do something new, but
yeah, and that's what
developing.
This is the box. This is the first reference box that you really want to get, but there's no heraldry on it.
Exactly, but they put it on the inside of the cover book, so I can understand why they wanted to do something different. But
but it's still good. It's still a great one. We'll get to that. So, and we come down here and just the chronology. I was like, oh, what's this all about, man? There's background, there's data on this, wow, this map looks cool. What's going on with all this? Man, it looks like something bad happened. So I'm a kid and I get right here, and this is it. And now you're going to understand why I hate Vampire Thrommel so much, right? I'm going to tell you right here.
Oh, it's in here.
It starts right here. Seriously,
it's been haunting you your whole gaming career.
Yeah, it's not mentioned here, but I'm gonna tell that story. Why? So, and it just says the Battle of Emerald Metals highlights this growing realization of mutual interests, and it talks about it. It actually goes into little details of the battle itself.
Mm-hmm.
The Marshal Furiandi, leader of the combined forces, order withdrawal. Talking about the fight. And then when you come here, there's an entire, this is a big paragraph for this book, right? You don't have a lot of paragraphs coming that are this size. And it talks about it, and then it goes in after the great slaughter inflicted. The army went on to besiege the Temple of Elemental Evil. It fell in the fortnight. The demon of Zugdmoy was. Is that? I guess that's how I've always pronounced it. Zugdmoy was imprisoned in the ruins of the place. That's how I do. Only a few of the wicked leaders escaped. And then here it is, the next one. The prince betrothed to the daughter of the Plar of Valuna. Upon his marriage, the two states would become a joint entity. And then, the prince ascending with the throne.
There's an interesting detail in that sentence that I think was forgotten. The Plar of Valuna.
Yeah.
Is that title used later on in products?
No, I've never seen it ever again.
Exactly, and it's interesting. I want to revive the title Plar of Valuna, because that goes back to the original source. So I'm going to note that right away. And Plar of Valuna, it never struck me until now. I've read that thing like 10 times over. Plar of Valuna, and we need to look into the history. How long has that title been used, and was it abandoned and just no one went back to the real sources? Because I think this text is in the 83 box set as well.
Okay.
And it probably is cited later on too. But when Valuna was developed, the Hazen became the arch cleric and blah blah blah, and the Plardom was
I know,
forgotten, so to speak.
It's pretty neat though when you think about it. Like,
I love stuff like this. This is the anecdote you can world build from stuff like this. Yeah,
absolutely. So, and it says here, it's suspected that these individuals were responsible for the subsequent kidnapping and total disappearance of the Prince of Furiandi. So there's the connection there, right? So, and then it goes on and it sets your point. So when we first started playing, and my history, what drew me in, and this is what I want to, for anyone new to Greyhawk, there's always a catch, right? And I was like, man, that drew me in. And then you're trying to figure out what year this set starts in, and you come to the realization it's 576, maybe 575, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
And I said to my guys, I guess I was smart back then. Why don't we start when that battle occurs and place our first characters like as squires or whatever, and be like 16 years old, because we all played humans to start first time around. I don't think anyone played a half elf. We're into humans. I think everyone was a human character because everyone's afraid to play because you're
Yeah,
13.
we read Tolkien, so we all played Hobbits the first games we played. Yeah,
That's
because
cool.
we were like 15 years old. We read The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings, so most of us wanted to be hobbits.
And so that's how that started. So we started our campaign right in 569, and then it was almost like the character development stage. Like where now you have these tables, in books, and you can actually, some of the game systems you die in your character creation, which is kind of amusing. But then I looked at this map and I was like, and this is a whole nother story that we don't need to get into. But I was like, wow, it's only this small part. What is out here? Now I don't even care. I know a lot of people have done stuff and it's great, but I limit myself. To, and we go over here into this from here around. This is my wheelhouse.
But that is an interesting aspect because I was the same way. I wanted to know what everything was in the original. Now, the more I world build, the more I realize that I only need a few 1,000 square miles, and I can game there for the rest of my life. So if you go deeper and more detailed, you need less space, so to speak.
Right, and that's I think what. Hey, Sparky, that's what I think this discussion is going to be about. Is you can go as on the top level or as detailed as you want. But I think
it's your basic approach to gaming, so to speak.
Right.
What gaming style and how do you approach gaming? What do you want out of your gaming? That's 100%. Different.
100%. So that was my hook in, and that is why. And now let me bring up, and I should have had that prepped, and I don't have anything. And I'm going to bring up your map because that is why I have this area as I've made my own, because from that we had like a big we were kids, and I know Mike Bridges did the same thing in second edition. We had the big Great War with the Sea Princes and Keeland, and the Sea Princes actually were secretly building a land army, and from that the Order of Ulick was formed, and then we looked at all the Hateful Wars things to tie it into Selene, and that's how we got with my wheelhouse area. It runs Greyhawk, all the Cairn Hills. I don't go into Ernst really. I definitely love the Shield Lands because Marco loved the Shield Lands, so we play a lot there, all the way up to the Vesvi. Whoops, sorry. This is what happens when you're not when you have what would be called a gaming hangover from the joust last night. Holy jeez. I forgot how much I talked during those jousts. To the Sheldamar Valley area, and that's where I've limited mine. Now, I know a lot of people bust my stones. I bust myself about not no eastern side of the map.
No, but I think it's a cool gimmick. It's such an awesome gimmick of your campaign. You've done so much with that part of the and with that half of the map or even less.
Yeah. Right, and it's the area that. And when you think about it, I have 28 adventuring groups, and on Thursday night, Alan and Walt just both revealed they have roughly 70 player characters. Yeah. It's a lot, and it's not. I haven't even scratched the surface. I mean, the heavy population areas are on the other side of the map. So when you think about it, it's a small area.
And in the last 5 years that I've gamed, or 6 years, I haven't moved more than. I'm less than 100 square miles.
Right, yeah, and it's all down here.
I've been basically in one Darlene hex for 5 years.
Down here.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's
or maybe
fantastic.
Two. Maybe two. Maybe two.
2 hexes.
But that's because there is probably a hex somewhere in the middle there. So maybe 2.
So the point I am making is I fell in love with this when I was a kid, and 44 years later, I'm still playing. And you can do so much with the Greyhawk setting because it's so open. And I'm going to give, once again, I rarely do this. I'm going to give the WotC guys props on the interview for the Dungeon Master's Guide, and where they highlighted Greyhawk. They said exactly that they're these however many pages they're going to do of the new map and the new Greyhawk City map are set so that it is very open, which means
Mhm.
they're not recanonizing stuff, right? It sounds like to me 576 is going to be the set point, and then you're just going to go from there, and you're going to be able to do whatever you want. It's almost like a blank slate. That's
Well,
what it
yeah, the
sounds
intent.
like.
Yeah, the intention, what they said
Yeah.
in the original, I haven't listened to the latest interview, but when
Yeah.
the DMG was presented,
Right.
were teased rather, then they said that the chapter would be about using Greyhawk for homebrewing. And
Right.
I think
Exactly.
that's a brilliant idea. And if that's what they're sticking to, I think they can do a good job with it.
And we all homebrew, right?
Exactly.
My
Meaning that's
Greyhawk
what
is
we've
different
been
than
doing
your
for
Greyhawk,
decades.
which is
Exactly.
different than Les's Greyhawk, or Gary's, or Sam's, or
Mhm.
you know, or
That's
Alan
what we've been doing for
Crowley's.
decades. And
Yeah,
yep.
absolutely, and that's the joy and wonder
Mhm.
of
And
this
if
game
we
setting.
yeah, and if we sort of the coast can bring that tradition of home brewing from
Right.
published sources to a new generation of gamers, I'm all for that.
Absolutely. All right, how did you fall in love with Greyhawk, Anna?
It was simply because I had very little fantasy experience going into this. So when I started playing D&D, I had never read Tolkien. Meaning medieval stuff. I knew about that. I grew up in a place where there were actually medieval fortresses and history. That to me, as a teenager, that was so boring because that's where the most boring museums that took you to at school and stuff and forced you to watch, so to speak. So I grew up thinking this was the most boring stuff ever. So I was hard convinced to begin with that because I wanted to play science fiction and stuff. I thought spaceships and Traveler and stuff was way more interesting. Laser guns and stuff like that was way more interesting than swords and dragons and stupid magic and stuff like that. It was like technology. I wanted to fly. I wanted to see space and see the real world, so to speak, not some imaginary crap that someone invented. That was my view when I started this. And to be honest, when I started gaming, when I heard about Traveler, that initially got me way more interested than
It was a
I
cool
tried
game.
it. Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
And but I saw the potential in it, and then I started loving the quirkiness of fantasy over time, so to speak. But that was really hard to convince me originally. And then it grew on me. After about a year of playing it like 20 times or 30 or something like that, I grew on me and I saw the potential. And then I started to have fun and I started reading Tolkien and other fantasy, David Eddings and so on. And then I started falling in love with the genre of fantasy as well as role playing. So it was kind of hand in hand, but it was a hard slog. Thanks to
coffee refill.
Yeah.
I sort of have to leave. I'm like, coffee refill, please.
That's awesome. Yeah. So for me, it was thanks to friends that were persistent enough to keep me at the game table the first year or two, and that kind of brought me in. And the concept of world building, making my own content, and coming up with cool stories and dream up worlds, so to speak. That was the stuff, and of course to game with friends. But it was not a love at first sight for me. It grew on me, so to speak. Yeah.
So all right. So back then, I remember going into the game store down at the Berlin auction, and I remember walking in and seeing D&D, Tunnels and Trolls stuff was out, and Traveler, and maybe some other things here and there that I'm forgetting, but some Judges Guild references and all, like the City State of I think the Invincible Overlord was out still, but I don't remember a lot of the other stuff that was published that was out there, but I remember Traveler was big. But so how did the connection to Greyhawk happen?
That was simply because in the first couple of years, I just played as a player. And after a while, I was like, where do all this cool stuff comes from?
Okay.
I understood that some of it was just a ripoff of Tolkien and so on. Meaning my imagination wasn't that. I was kind of developed. It was vivid, but not underdeveloped. Okay. That's how I want to say it. So I could imagine things, but there was no real structure, so to speak. And so when I had a few DMs who come up with original cool stories and stuff, and I was like, how do they get all this cool stuff, and where does it come from? And so, they're like game setting. Someone used like the term meaning the place, or like and so on. And then I realized, oh, you can tie all this together and so on, like you do in a book. And then we were at the game store down in Gothenburg, and I think it was Wizards, I think it was called, or Wizard, and the that was the Greyhawk box set was sitting on the shelf.
So this one.
And yeah, exactly, that one. Yeah. So I think it was in 83 because it was brand new, and it was sitting. I don't think it was sitting on the shelf. It was even sitting on the counter, and it was one that was not shrink wrapped, so you could see what was in it. And I opened it, I saw the heraldry and the map, and I bought it then and there. Because
Wow.
I realized and that was the only one they had in the store. So the other players and that we were like a group of 5 or something that went from our hometown and down to Gothenburg. It was like an hour away from where I grew up. And so I bought it and started reading it. And thanks to the quirk, I think I was busy with work and all that stuff back then. It was after basic training in the military and stuff. So I was away. So the next summer I booked a vacation to Dubrovnik of all places. So I read that thing cover to cover in Dubrovnik, and that must have been it was the perfect spot to do it, because all of a sudden I felt like walking in Dubrovnik and then reading this thing in between.
Wow.
That was like living in Greyhawk.
That?
That must have been 84, 83, 84.
So that was right during the Olympics were 84, right? Sarajevo there.
Yeah, so
Sarajevo. Everything.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Oh yeah, that was the first time I've been to Dubrovnik, I think 3 times. Yeah. So I've been there twice before the Yugoslavia fell apart. So I think it fell apart in like 88 or 89 or something like that. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's when I fell in love with Greyhawk, and I didn't understand it, but I fell in love with it. And I realized this is the place I can take out of this forever, so to speak. I can just immerse myself and just come up with things in between the lines, so to speak. And that's what I've been doing ever since.
I heard my servant coming. So sorry, Anna, what was the book you were reading in Dubrovnik?
That was the 83 box set, the Greyhawk box set. Yep.
Right. Can you shut the door just most of the way? Thanks. So yeah, okay. There you go. That's very cool, Dennis.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll see.
So
we'll see Dennis tonight. See Malden tonight at 7:00, which is awesome. So so we both fell in love. Okay, good, Rob. So I just know what to tell Jeremy from your win last night on that. So yeah.
So maybe it was 80, but 84, 80. Yeah, I think it was
84.
Right,
time all gets melded together.
Oh yeah, it's so long ago. It's like 40 some years ago. Yeah.
The fortunate thing for me was, for some reason, as a crazy 7th, 8th grader back then, 9th grader going into, I started logging when I did our first campaign Greyhawk adventure. I logged them, so I know all the times. I know exactly when we started
I wasn't
playing.
That organized. Yeah, I wasn't that organized to begin with.
Oh my gosh, I can't even remember. The realization of me doing that now and knowing that we're on like 1070 or whatever. It's just it's crazy, but
I love that part that you always been that organized. You always had like a persistent campaign. For me, for the first 10 years at least, it wasn't persistent. It was just like, oh, I drum up with a couple of cool adventures. We play for a weekend or a week or a few times or whatever, and then I came up with another story. We have other characters, and the thing that the world kind of had consistency and stuff, that came in the 90s for me.
Right.
That was like 10 years later.
And that's the great point. For me, it came right as I got this, right? So we were doing that with the Holmes Basic. We ran Keep on the Borderlands and Search the Unknown. What else was out? That, and then we mix up some others of our own, slaying dragons and ogres or whatever else was in the book. Because remember that the Holmes Basic box set, you only went up to 3rd level.
Yep.
It had 3rd level wizard spells in there, but it only listed them. It didn't give you descriptions or anything. Like, so what the heck's this? So when this came out,
meaning I watched that one, so I never saw that one, so I got straight into the box set. So I got a little bit more from the start, so to speak, than you got. Yeah. So
we had no idea what we're doing, and so the back history of my campaign settings a little. I don't talk about the really Monty Hall stuff.
No, but in the beginning, we learned the game. We learned the idea. So things are completely off the rookers in beginning, and that's fine.
That's exactly another good point.
Exactly. The important bit is that you learn over time. So and as a beginner, you want meaning, well, I should phrase it otherwise. When you're a seasoned gamer, you want something else out of the game that from the beginning, so to speak.
True.
And we all go through phases. And I think in the beginning, there should be a phase where what you want out of the game is to get the coolest magic items, the most pluses, and think of it mechanically. And I think that's a good phase to go through, because that way you learn the game, so to speak, and you learn the concept of gaming and role-playing games. But then for me, I moved on from there. That's not what I want out of it now. And so for me, it's changed every decade or so. What I want out of the game have changed.
It's so, and as Strider here says, he's been disorganized till recently. That's not a bad thing. So you'll get to a point, and this is another point before we go into like what do you want to get and all that stuff. You really want to find your own way and then come up with your own couple things. Your own what rule set you use.
Mm-hmm.
What type of play style? Theater of the mind, VTT, a combo.
Exactly and your physical setup, meaning are you an online today? You have made more options. Back then it was pencil, dice, and a game table. That was it.
Right.
Now there's more options, so you need to
And the last thing is, what do you want out of your Greyhawk setting, and why you want to go to your Greyhawk setting over other settings. And that's the thing that we're going to really try and dig into today, right? And when we're talking, because that's the most important thing. The rule says, I'm old school 1E, 2E. You got your own Hawktails. There's a lot of 5E. There's a lot of Castles and Crusades lately being played system.
And there's still some 3rd edition players.
Absolutely.
There,
Pathfinder.
3rd edition Pathfinder, even the occasional 4th edition, but I think they're very rare nowadays. So
Yeah, right here. Wow. So that's another thing. I never threw anything out. So I have every character sheet from every character, dead or alive. Some of them are in bins, but I have everything. Never threw anything out.
Yeah, all the old notes as well as me. I never threw any of these away, and I still find the occasional old gem when I read through them. That's
Absolutely.
The thing.
Like, oh my gosh, I wrote that down. Yeah, and that's the same thing with us having Lens Archive, and which is really fantastic. For another time on that discussion. But so you need to figure out where you want to go and what you want to do with your setting and why you want to get hooked into Greyhawk. And that's what I'm hoping, and I should have had this up here, is that this, and I can't remember. Give me 1 second here.
Yep. And also one of the things that we kind of, I think when we discuss, especially Jamie, we discuss it from a DM perspective a lot of times, but it's also different. We also have to realize now there's a lot of people come in who never run their own games. They just played. And that's another aspect. But I think we concentrate from you running your own games, so to speak. That's a big step in itself in the beginning. If you're absolutely brand new to games, then just coming up and running a game is a big thing in itself. But let's assume that you have run a few games and then you want to set your games somewhere, so to speak.
So now, 2 things.
Yep.
Please tell me I can't get to her.
Oh, yeah. Now I understand what you're going for. Yep.
Yeah. All right. So if you don't know, and I was like, I found this because I follow Francesca. We actually tried to get her on the show. She's very, very shy, and she's from Italy. But all right. So this is what I'm hoping for new players is going to draw them back in. So we have the Mike Schley map for Greyhawk, and then we have Francesca Barral doing, and Malden. I said this on a quote to her. I said that, she has this based off your map, not the others. Look, you got all the sprawl in the outskirts. So she actually is basing her new Greyhawk City map. It's in the Dungeon Master's Guide off of Dennis's Malden's map. It is definitely that. So, which is really fantastic to see that has evolved. So what I'm hoping is that. Yes, I know. See, little secrets. So she released this out, and then here, let me just scroll down. Look what I put that right in. Looks like it was based off the Mountain Area map and not the original box set, and that was me responding to her. So Yeah, this is Francesca Berald, a brilliant city map maker, and so this is my hope, and I think a lot of people had the and maybe you will too. You get the Dungeon Measures Guide, and you get these two wonderful maps, and it's like, wow, I want to know more. And there's only there's 8-9 pages, and no, she did not respond back. I got likes on it, but she did not respond back on it to me because but you know, we'll try. I don't know if we'll get her on the live, but maybe we'll get her. Maybe Anna can talk to her offline.
Maybe we can meet her on a convention or
I don't know if she
someday
leaves
or
Italy.
something.
That's the thing. I'm not sure.
Well, I
leaves
might
Italy.
go to Italy one day. So
There you go. That would be
I've
great.
been there before, and I
Okay.
might very well go there again. Yep.
Yeah. So here's our draw in for the next generation. I think once again, I'm going to give them credit. They did a good job here.
Oh yeah,
with these maps, right?
Oh yeah, the intention, I think it's and hopefully the rest of the text will hold this quality, and then I think it will be a great add-on to the amount of Greyhawk published stuff, so to speak.
Yeah, I can't blow this up that much, but it looks like it highlights sections. It's going to be.
Yeah, it's her style of very artistic, beautiful, look like they were made in Renaissance Italy, and her maps are gorgeous, just like Mike Schlee's maps. They are fantastic.
I actually may now buy the book just for that map.
I'm definitely going to buy the book just for these two things. I want to see these, and I want to read the text about Greyhawk too. So in that sense, I have to give credits to Wisdom of the Coast business kudos. They lure us old schoolers to old timers, grognards, or whatever you might call us, to buy this stuff because they put Greyhawk into it. So yeah.
So they did the right thing here. But y'all need. The new generation needs a tie-in. So what I would say to those that are looking and interested, here's your start point. You want to start point, get the new material, and then don't like. All right, so let's go here. All right, so this is the Mike. We have Mike on, which is great, and we're going to have him back once it gets released. And there's some changes here, but for the most part, this is the same map. And this is based off of Anna's contour lines. We know that because Mike told us, Mike Schley told us this. Yeah. So you have all the base start points here, and then it's a simple step forward and a free download from here.
And this is only the low resolution.
Right.
Hopefully, and if they follow the tradition, which I think they will, then the high resolution of this map will be available from Mike Schley personally on his website and stuff. I think they usually do that after it's published. The artists that's been the tradition of Wizards to have previous maps have been released that way.
Yeah, I saw that the Beetle and Grimm set there. I saw that, and that's a premium cloth set too. And I was like, do I do it or not? All right, we're gonna have a double whammy here. 1 second, so we're sound here. Let me do this. You're gonna. Thanks, Alex. Yeah, you're absolutely correct. So I'm going to bring this up here. I'm going to turn off my sound here, and I'm going to link that there, and there we go. Okay. Yeah, it's $144, but you're right. There it is.
Yeah. So I'm going to get the DM's guide, and then we'll see from there, so to speak. I don't think I'm that into this extra stuff. This is for people that want candy
but
stuff.
These are canvas maps.
Exactly, and I don't need that. I want the information and want to be able to study them. That's what I want.
So there you go. So that's the Beetle and Grimm one coming out shortly. So if you want that premium.
Beetle and Grimm if you're a collector of this stuff, then Beetle and Grimm is probably fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they've done a lot of awesome stuff. So I'm not against that, but it's not really what I need for my games.
Right, just the Dungeon
Measures. And I'm not a collector.
Maps,
exactly. I'm not a collector for the collecting's sake. I want the information out of it. So
So get your hook in if you're new to Greyhawk. That is what I'm saying. Find something that's like, wow, it super excites you. And it doesn't have to be what WotC is publishing, but I'm saying a lot of people, if they're a 5th edition player especially, or they're interested in a new system, are going to see this and go, wow, what's this system all about? And then it's steps.
Yeah.
It's baby steps. And I've seen a couple people over the last couple of years go, I want to know everything there is to know about Greyhawk. And then I said, I don't know everything there is to know about Greyhawk. Right?
And thanks
You
to all
know?
the awesome creators out
Right.
there, that there is new stuff every week. It's hard just to keep up.
Exactly. And that, I think, is a trap. And I think that's something we need to discuss. I think when Sam comes on in a half hour, we're going to discuss
but it's different for us that almost make a living doing this. But it's if you just want to run your own games, you just pick whatever you want and ignore the rest. But if you want to make like reference stuff and so on for others, then you have to set the standards a bit higher, so to speak, and you have to be more aware of what's going on in the community and so on and so forth. But for your own games, pick whatever parts you want and ignore the rest, so to speak.
Began, that's an incorrect statement. I know everything there is to know more about my Greyhawk than anyone. But if you think I know more about Greyhawk than Les or Sam or Gary Julian, no.
They don't cast the
No, I don't, because I don't use the whole. I know very little about the Great Kingdom. I have oh my God, not Eyes to Evil. Oh my God, my brain just shut off. Avidia Undying, but I don't use it. So I know about my Greyhawk, and that's the thing. Yes, good, excellent. You need to know about what you're going to do as if you become new to Greyhawk. So let's yeah, I do, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Exactly, Beacon. That's the great thing, and that's another thing. The opportunity is coming, and unfortunately, it comes out right when I'm going to be out for a bit with my surgery. Right.
Well, then you get a copy at the hospital and catch up.
So, but we're going to have shows. Pick a corner. Yeah. Exactly. Speaking of that, yeah. Let's here. You're on. Pick a corner. Here. So for you out there who are going to be watching this in the future on Twitch, YouTube, or whatever, Dennis is on Malden. Okay. He
picked the corner.
He picked the corner, and it got on the third edition.
It's almost literally a corner.
It is literally a corner, and it's on all the maps. It's not on the new map, but it's on all the third edition maps. It's on all those that came out during that area, and that's a corner picked. That's it.
Yep. But I think it's a good rule to start with, is that if you want to let's say you have the ambition of saying, I want to run long-term campaigning Greyhawk. I want to set my games in Greyhawk and homebrew. If you have that as the intention and to say, okay, I'm fairly new to D&D. I love to run games, and then I want to have like a world that could be suitable. And then you read the DMG and you say, okay, let's go with this. I'm going to start running my games in Greyhawk. My advice is that you read through the outlines either in the new DMG, which I presume have some regional and different realms of countries layout, and the ones that appeal to you. Pick that one. And if you like the description and it sounds like that's a cool place, pick that one and read everything you find about that place. Right. Google that place and read a few things and read it in DMG. Get the Living Greyhawk Gazetteer, the 83 box set as a PDF or something, and read the entry for that country or that area. It could be a forest, or if that's what you prefer, or mountain range or whatever. Some part that is like a manageable little size, and then read that. That will take you a day or two. That's like 5 hours of studying. And when you've done that, you can, if you're 1 hour in and you realize, nah, it didn't sound that good, then pick another one and do a few, and then you find one. Okay, that sounds cool. That's a place that has the mix of things, features that I want. Then you do your 5 to 10 hours of study, and then you write up a cool little story that fits within that, and you play through that. And then you record the outcome of that story, and you add the NPCs and stuff to the lore you have, and there you have the start. And then you just keep evolving from there. Stay in the area and you do it. And then you realize that when you run the games, then you start saying, okay, what are the neighboring areas, the neighboring kingdoms? Do we have evil? Is Ayus somewhere in the vicinity? If you have an area next to him, like the Bandit Kingdoms or something, then you read about Ayus and you start introducing him and his henchmen as villains over time. or you invent your own local ones. But once you move on and so on, that's when you start studying some of the bigger picture things, like on your east side of the map, start thinking about the Death Knights and the story of the Great Kingdom and stuff, and you can weave that into your campaign. But if you just have a little village in ID, don't worry about that part. That come later, so to speak.
That's it. And so there are traps, and what I have seen, I've seen some what I will call Greyhawk overload with some newer players or who attempt to be DM and want to recreate. This is not to sound arrogant. Want to create what I have done, or Anna has done, or someone else has done, and have it took me 40 years. Right, and Anna's been playing for 30, 40 years.
Meaning, I've studied Greyhawk as much as people study doctorate subject now. Meaning, it's 10,000 hours over 30 years of reading and stuff. So when we invent plots that are 6 levels deep and go back 3,000 years in history, that's something you can invent that. But the problem is that if you invent all this, then you need to tweak it. I'm very careful when I do that, because I try to tie it into published lore. But you can ignore that if you want to. But the problem is that once you start ignoring things at the higher level, then you start having then you have to ignore so much stuff that if you invite players in and you say, oh, I'm running a Greyhawk campaign, and then you say, oh, there's not, that city doesn't exist, I use doesn't exist, or things doesn't exist, and this changed or that changed, that could be okay. But then you realize that a lot of players will say, nah, that's not for me, because it's not Greyhawk enough for me. And that's the other issue, meaning how much can you tweak and how and when is it no longer Greyhawk? Well, that's a slippery slope, and it's something that you and your players have to come up with what your limits are, so to speak, and how true to published lore do you have to be, or something. And you don't have to be true at all, but you had to at least give what the players want, so to speak.
Very true. You don't, and you can skirt the surface. So here are my 3 recommendations for books to start. And a lot of them you're going to only be able to get in PDF, which is okay.
Oh yeah, and I have the link here where you can. I put that in chat.
Yeah, please.
You go to Drive Through RPG and you search for Greyhawk, and you can go to this page, and then you get the whole bunch of galore in Greyhawk products in PDF form. Some of them you can buy in print on demand as well, but all of them in PDF, and there's tons of them, and the prices are really low, so it doesn't cost much. Meaning $10 will get you almost anything here. There's a couple of things that are like $15, but most of them are like $5, $6, $10.
So, Moose, you see your mystery character showed up at the joust, so that was enough of a tidbit just to get them. Like, Mom's like, well, who the heck's that guy? Absolutely. So it was a good idea. Yeah. All right. So here's the 3. If you can get a hold of this, I mean, this is a pretty penny, but in PDF, because this is.
Oh, PDF is $10 at Drive Through RPG.
That's
it's
great.
Worth every penny. Yep.
The World of Greyhawk Fantasy. I'm going to give you 3 recommendations here, and this will start you off good in 576 era.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and this is also good because this gives you the early days of Greyhawk from a published perspective too. So I think this is a great start to go through, and it's not that much of a read. It's a couple of 100 pages or like 150 or so, both 2 booklets. I've read through it completely probably 3 or 4 times now, over like once a decade or so. I've read through it.
I pick what I need out of this because once again, I am a one.
But I reference it almost on a daily basis. I go back and read some little thing here and what does it say there and stuff.
Like here's one of my kingdoms that I use, Celine. Have you noticed it's a paragraph, right? Well, what am I going to do with that? So plenty of room to move, plenty of room to make up stories. So all the village, and then that is book number 1, and it has weather in here. We just talked about that on another show. Has all the deities finally make an appearance in here. There's 2 compendiums. The first one has the stories and the lore and stuff, and the other one has more the mechanics. It has the weather, the trade routes, the birth tables, and a lot of stuff like that. The compendium. So the compendium is way more technical. So read the first book first and then dive into the compendium later, so to speak. Dirty, that is the case for a lot. I'm going to give you someone in the community who that was the case for. Curtis and Brett, right? And Curtis,
Yeah.
Fritz showed up last night during the joust, which was hysterical, and really was bad mouthing everyone. It was funny. So that is the case for a lot of people, but that's okay because there's a lot of room, and from my shows and my games and Thursday night even, that Ed Greenwood's a huge proponent of Greyhawk, and it creates a lot of Greyhawk lore. So there's room to learn it. If you're a Forgotten Realms person, it's perfectly fine for that, and that's where you take little tidbits of each. There's way more gods in here than I use in this book alone. And they're not all listed.
Exactly, and I haven't used half of them, but I still want them to have them for world building purposes, so to speak. And some of them have been mentioned. That might be like a temple sitting somewhere, or an old like ruin, or whatever it is, so to speak. But very few have I've used actively, so to speak. Clerics, to maybe 10 of them, 15 or something like that is probably closer to what. But I've also been in only a few places. Like in my Sheila's campaign, there's probably about 10 or so that I've used actively in some ways, 8 or 10.
That's a great question there, Jeff. All right, well, I'll get that in 1 second. Okay, that'll be our next answer, because we had a whole show on that, but I'm going to give you the answer that I would recommend. Yeah. All right, so I just went through here. I don't even know who this deity is after all these years. Who's Wenta? I've never heard of it. Her, him, or I'd have never used Wenta as a deity in my life.
It's one of these weather deities. It's one of these seasonal deities from.
So there you go.
Old Iridian. It's like I have it from these old deities that ties back to Iridian old stuff. That meaning the Flan have their Baorian stuff, and the Iridians had their 4 gods for the winds and stuff like that. So I have it that is Iridian old history that has then been folded into more common, but it's not something that you find temples to and stuff. It's something that folklore, like saying, oh, this is the winds of spring is coming, Venta is in the air and stuff like that. It's more like traditions. It's like like it's not the active sort of Telsure and stuff or stuff like that too.
So that's book 1. Book 2. Yep. Okay, Greyhawk Adventures. Now, I say this because it doesn't have anywhere near as much detail as the box set. It's probably you can get this on eBay for maybe, if you're lucky, a beat up copy for $15.
Oh yeah, and you can also get it for $10 as a PDF from DriveThru RPG. But I would say this is not something you should or need to read in order to understand the basics of Greyhawk. But when you run your games for a year or 6, but when you run your 10 first games in Greyhawk, that's when you need this book, because you want to add cool spells, you want to add cool magic items, you want to bring in, because this one, weirdly with this book is that it doesn't have much mechanics in it, but it's basically all about mechanics. It's magic items, spells, and all that stuff. So this is, you flavor whatever rule system you're using. You can be Pathfinder, it can be old school D&D, first edition or third edition or whatever. Just take stuff from here and put it in your game, because that will make it more Greyhawk.
Yep. Absolutely on that one. And then lastly, all right, because of the amount of data in here and the amount of detail in here on everything, the 3rd edition Living Greyhawk Gazetteer, and it doesn't matter that it's 3rd edition, because it's really not an edition book. It's a Greyhawk setting book.
Same thing with this one is the 83 box set remade again 30 years later in 2000 for
But this time frame is different. This is a 598 time frame.
Exactly. They moved the time frame forward too.
So that's a difference between.
But this is a genuine setting book. Greyhawk Adventures is a mishmash of cool Greyhawk content to spice up your game with. This is a genuine setting book that's trying to explain a setting from the get-go, and this has, in my opinion, it's much more elaborate than the 83 box set, but it's also much more to digest, so to speak.
It is, and that's why if I had a choice and I was completely noob, brand new, I'd go 83 first.
Exactly. Read 83 first and digest that. And then you read this one when you have the 83 box set in the back of your mind. Then you dig into this one.
definitely.
And this one is also something you should probably, it's tough to read it from cover to cover. This one you read section by section. You read about the country, or you read about history, or you read about a place or something like that. So you tie it in.
Lastly, if you want city adventuring, then this
exactly
book.
yes
this box
this
set.
this is the city and its environment, and you read that
and
one.
Two whole books.
Yeah.
This is my favorite of all time out of all the publications that ever came out
Yeah.
from Greyhawk.
Oh, yeah.
And it helped me after Greyhawk, and we adventured there all the time in the city and the surroundings. Yo, Ava, good to see you.
Hello.
From here, I will go to Harby and then my own Altamira and take a lot of the ideas out of this box set. The adventure cards in here alone, as Guild Superior and a lot of people know, as he's doing another one today, are alone are worth this. And the books actually hold up compared to where I thought I got them out. Some of these books, like the From the Ashes books, fall apart. These are my original books inside them. Look, they are still all bound together, which is insane after how much I use them. They're in good quality books that come out of that box set.
And I'm going to get something that you should read and get. And also, that I hope you still
have a shrink wrap sealed copy of one. So there you go. Here, go ahead, Anna. Then we'll go over the time frames. So
when you get the Cydia box set and you want then you should read this. If you want to sit down, then you should read these two if you're into Greyhawk.
The first two.
Because this one was published. Must have been published before it was before this the Cydia box set, I think, because it was written. These two were published by Gary when he was still at TSR, so to speak. And there is a third one, the Sea of Death, that was published by New Infinities afterwards, that I think was still written by Gary because it ties into the stories. But these, if you have the Cydia box set and then you read especially the first one, then you get a very good grounding in Greyhawk, and you can kind of build from there. These books are very much a road movie in book form. It's about the young Gord's travels through the setting, so to speak. They're not the best literary experience, I think, but they are a great introduction into Greyhawk. You get a lot of cool concept ideas and a feel for what Gary had for his vision for Greyhawk, so to speak, which you can then tweak into your own vision of the setting, which is something that Gary wrote. Now you can make Greyhawk your own. And I think that should be what, if you're a DM and you want to run games in Greyhawk, you should strive it to make it your own.
So they are tough to get a hold of, those books.
Yes, they are. They're really tough. They're really tough.
One of the problems,
and I don't think they're available in PDF. That's the problem.
Avon. So Avon is Avon Stewart, right? Yeah, I do it all the time.
Yeah.
Between Paul was on Paul's Langscanth, Avon Stewart. So I know. Yeah, so Stuart Kerrigan's on everyone. So it's tough. It's really tough to get a hold of them. But all this stuff that I'm showing here for the game itself, you can get. Now let's do Scottish Jeff's question. How would you start from scratch a campaign? And what time frame? That's part of the question.
Yeah, so, I think there are two logical time frames to start. One is 576. Pick up the 83 box set and start where it sets out, meaning when Greyhawk was founded, that's 576. That's an obvious start, so to speak. And the other one, if you want to take in all and you want to have a more prepared stuff, then you read the 83 box set, and then you study the Living Greyhawk Gazetteer, and you start it in like 597, 6, 7, 8, something like that, 98, and then after the Greyhawk Wars and stuff, and you start in that aftermath Greyhawk, so to speak. And there's there's reasons for both, so to speak. If you want the simplistic world, you can tweak into whatever you want, start 576, and then you can cherry pick from later content and mold that into your own, meaning the Greyhawk Wars, you can take inspiration from them, but they might not have happened in your Greyhawk. But on the other hand, if you want to just take content as it was published, then I would suggest set it in 597, 98 or something like that. And the Greyhawk Wars and all that happened. And then you can build from there. Because that way, everything that you read in all the published stories are old history. You can even set it in 650 or something like that. Just make an arbitrary date, and everything that you read about in lore, that is part of ancient history. That's something that happened a generation ago. And you can start shaping your Greyhawk with all of that being true back in the day, but that means that you can change it. Meaning, do you want to change it a little bit? Set it in 596. Will you change a bit more? Set it in 600. If you want to tweak it even more, set it 25 years later, and just set that as a date, and then treat it as history and just build from it. So it depends on what type of work you want to do, and yeah.
I'm going to answer this in a very cop-out way, which I think works for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Okay. Now here's the 80. A little trick of mine. This is the World of Greyhawk. This is the box set, right? 83, and then I blew it up so everyone can see it. Now here's the date. Here's the timeline, right? Guide to World of Greyhawk completed. I'm gonna give you two options here. I, as a new Greyhawk person, want to experience everything that happened over time and keep my options open. If I do it in the 598 era, some things already happened. My suggestion, the guide is 576. There's no reason why you have to start at that late. You can start it earlier.
You can start earlier if you want to.
Or the amorphous way to do it, don't even set a date. Play first, figure out what's going on around you, how your stories develop, then go, you know what, everyone, we're in 572. We're in 570. That's what I would do.
Because that was my next point. You might not want to run a linear set organized campaign. You might just want to do one-shots. You might want to do the classical games. You want to simply write a story and say, we're going to do whatever. We're going to visit the Tomb of Horrors this weekend, and we're going to have fun. And if you treat it as a game and you want a place for the game to play out, you can just invent stories anywhere you want, so to speak. And so that
exactly, Jeff.
Yeah.
How many times? Okay, I'm gonna tell you how this refers. How many times do we do, like I've done with other streams, crossover events? Okay, as an example, and this is where I say start small. And I did one with like Blue Box and some others. And I never mentioned in my game what year we're in. If you notice, I don't. Even though I keep track of it.
That's something for you as a DM. Meaning, how consistent do you want to be? Do you? And this is simple. Meaning, some of us, we just want to run fun games for our friends, so to speak. And others are like me. We are crazy world builders more than DMs in that sense. And that is half the fun. Then when you set your time for world building purposes, then it's really important. But if you just want to run cool games for your friends, then don't bother about that part at all in the beginning. Just run cool games and tweak stuff, so to speak.
So here's a secret that I rarely have told a lot of people. Bill knows this, who's on Build Master Crafter.
Yeah.
We were pulling our time frame too fast. And I got live streaming. What's up, Sam? I got live streaming and I decided, man, this is too fast for us. I actually squeezed the time frame down a little bit and put us back into 623, which I have not changed in a couple of years. But as a matter of fact, yes, we were going way too fast, and I did that, and there was no change. Actually, I was able to make sure all the generational things worked out and all, and we readjusted our time because it was going way too fast for the campaign setting.
And
go ahead.
I was going to say that I also have heard DMs who start every campaign at 576 and then see what happens. And then when they start another campaign with another group, they start at 576 again. And so that way you can re-experience the cool stuff over and over again. That's another way of doing it too.
Yep. So what's up, Sam? Welcome, man. Welcome.
Yeah.
We're having a fun discussion. Go ahead.
Yeah, I pop in with two things. And one, Anna had, sort of the one end. If you start in 591 or afterwards, you have 15 years of lore
Yeah.
and history ready to dump on your players whenever you need it.
Exactly. Yep.
I would say, though, the converse of that is if you start in 576, you have 15 years of plot already done for you.
Yep.
So either way, you can benefit.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, you either have ready-made lore, tons of it. Just okay, here's some recent history from you. Here's some more background for you, or you have, no, I don't have to plot what's going to happen next. I already know. And yeah, you can selectively include or exclude things.
Oh yeah.
You.
Oh, I think you should. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd also note, I mentioned this in the chat. In Visions 2, I did a whole article on adapting the classic letter code adventures for any era. Surprisingly, I think there's like 3 or 4 that cannot really be run in any time period from 576 to 591 because they just simply assume other events have really happened. For example, if you're running in 591, you can't really run Isle of the Ape because the Crook of Rao has already been discovered.
Well, you can and just make it a different topic going there.
You could, but like I say, you couldn't run it with the plot as written.
Yeah, true. Those WG adventures
like
are
that.
different.
Right.
Those WG adventures are different. But I'll give you an example. I just ran A2. Okay, but it was a different. It was just based on A2, but it wasn't A2. It was with a lot of changes. They had reset the base up there, right? And that's going to lead into Carlos's adventure. I got it out for this. I thought I did. Carlos's Sea Adventure. Here it is.
Yeah,
that was the tie into this.
Yeah, exactly. That's like a prime example. And to a degree, there are some adventures where if you run them later, the impact can actually be enhanced. Like the A series. Okay, yeah, as written, you're just kind of stopping, whoever, just some random slavers in the Pomage. But if you run it after Turash Mak is around, now you're striking into the heart of Turash Mak's empire.
And then you have way more lore to put context to put the slavers into. That cool. Would be cool. Yeah.
And then you can say it has way more impact.
Yeah. And another thing that I think is really cool, you can go back to classical ones, meaning now I'm thinking, if I want to go back and say, okay, I want to visit the Temple of Elemental Even now in my campaign in 602, maybe. What happened since 573 or earlier on when you had the Battle of Emerald Meadows and stuff, meaning and you had Nolub and these places. Okay, then I have to sit down and figure out, okay, what happened over these 32 years or whatever it is.
You don't need,
might be.
You don't need to know
look,
what happened.
in my play style, I want to know.
But an
I
entry person, which we're trying,
exactly. I was going to say
to know
exactly. I was going to say that you don't have to. You can run the classic one as written, so to speak, and just set it because you can just, and then after you say that. And also, that's the other way. Run these classical ones with a bunch of players and then you realize, oh, this setting is really cool. Then you can say, okay, now I'm going to start my Greyhawk campaign and persistently set it in Greyhawk and make it a campaign that has a continuous story and so on. Yeah.
That's so. Go ahead, Sam.
Yeah, here's another one just for you, Jay. For running Temple of Elemental Evil in 591. You can completely ignore the return, and now
what?
Rommel's still there, waiting to be rescued.
There is no return.
Exactly, there's no return.
And waiting to be rescued and become and be returned to Furiundi.
I agree 100%. So let's get this out of the way first. So you hit the home run there. I get tied in, as you saw at the very beginning. I get loved and time in by the first couple paragraphs of the Battle of Emerald Meadows, and the prince gets kidnapped, right? So then we run this. We finally run this in 86, 87. It comes out in 85, but in the campaign, I'm bringing up new first level characters. I got all these groups running, and we got multiple groups going into the temple. And Bill's not even playing it, by the way. Bill Crafter is not even playing it. So it's Mark, Tom on and off, Alan, Tim, Walt and a couple of the other fringe people, and they get to the point in Temple of Mental Evil, which is to Hamlet, where they find the prince and rescue him. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is cool. I've done a plot line that's in this book. Wow, how awesome is that? And then things happen before that. Well, it turns out that I Have Jolene didn't wait around. So they don't get married because, but it happens in my game. What happened in my game. So, and Belvoir hasn't abdicated yet. He waits a couple of years to make sure that this isn't fake. That goes on. So from the original glossography of 1980, I complete something I've been waiting to do since that came out. And they did it, right? So now you understand why I'm such a crazed person when it was a plot line that was an original glossography book. I was like, wow, they did all that. They actually put it in there, right? And that's just where it comes from. So I always say, if I had a recommendation, start your game early as possible. Why do I say that? Or don't even put a time frame on. You don't need to put a time.
In the beginning,
skip
that. Just
you don't
run
need to put
some
a time.
cool
Just
stuff.
Run stuff and get your feel. Run stuff and get your feel. Because I think that the Gary, and I'm not a crazed grognardian here, but I love what they did early on. I love that, the stuff that Rob was doing. I love the A series. I love the G series. I love, and we'll talk about that. The original U series and 1, they're all so awesome. And you can run them later on. There's but experience Greyhawk early on, and that's what I'm hoping that they did in the Dungeon Master's Guide that comes out, so you can re-experience all this. That's
the persistent campaign comes when you get if you get the world building bug. That's when you want to dig deeper into this stuff, so to speak. In that sense,
you can retcon. There's no point in look. My why this now? My campaign is a series. Let me start before. I just watched the Witcher series, I don't know, a year ago. I was confused as hell. I didn't realize that they were jumping all over in time in the first couple episodes, right? I'm thinking to myself, what? How's this happening now? And he's back there with with her being conceived and all that stuff, the kid. I'm thinking to myself, what the heck's going on? Well, that's what my campaign is. I bounce around all the time with 28 different adventuring groups. It's not lineal. Doom, doom, boom, boom, boom. It could be all this, bouncing all over the place in the timeline. Yeah, exactly, Rob. And I'm saying it was genius. And that's what I've been doing forever in my game. This adventure number 170 may take place after 1069. Don't worry about the time. I know this is the main difference between Anna and me in DMing. Anna is I want to know why everything is what it is.
Exactly. Yep.
I don't care as much. I want this story to continue, and I want the players to enjoy themselves, and I want my groups to each have their own story within their adventure group. Okay. And that's the craziness in me. I don't. No one else has as many adventuring parties. Sam, what are your thoughts on start point, and then we can move on from that.
I had said in the chat room, if you're looking for a start date, 576, 580, 582, 584, and 591 are the prime dates because that's when the source books are set.
True. Yeah, Greg Adventure Begins is got right?
Yes. Yeah, that's also 590. Technically, it's 591, like an hour before the LGG.
Right.
So those are the prime dates. And 580, 582-ish, that's City of Greyhawk box set. So you have the folio, the gold box. You have City of Greyhawk. You have FTA, and then you have Tab and LGG. So those are your 4 prime times. But beyond that, I do kind of have a fondness for 576 because, well, we have 15 years of stuff ready for us if we need it. Yep. 15 years of stuff I don't have to invent. But beyond that, it's whenever you feel like it.
Exactly.
But whenever
Exactly.
you really are comfortable, even as Anna said, set it 10, 20 years after 591. Get rid of any baggage from the old.
Exactly. I mean, then you can all treat it all as old history, and we can be remembered, and those are the ruins from and stuff like that.
Right.
So,
And just move forward.
yeah.
So there. So here's another thing. How do I find, like, well, first of all, please understand this is an editionless discussion. So it's okay whatever edition you're playing in. Because there are conversions over 15 years of stuff he needs to. Yeah, that's funny. That's funny.
But we should mention that there are, since most of Greyhawk, the original stuff is written for first edition D&D, and then not that much. Most of it was actually written for second edition D&D. A lot of it in the middle part, because that's where a lot. So it was like first and second, but those are very interchangeable, and some products are falling in between, like Greyhawk Adventures that was written for some hybrid, or they exclude mechanics due to it, so to speak. So any edition of D&D and Pathfinder are up. I haven't read the very latest Reforged or Core, whatever they called, Pathfinder 2, how different they are, but all the stuff from all D&Ds and also a lot of the new OSR games could easily be run in Greyhawk, so you can use it. Any fantasy role-playing game basically can be, because Greyhawk is very classic fantasy in a lot of sense.
Here are 3 examples of locations where you can start that's already pre-built for you. That would be wonderful to start your campaign in. And number 1, of course, is Village of Hamlet by far.
Yes.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
This is one of the best adventures ever made, because it is a sandbox adventure in the purest form.
Yeah.
So
and it
much
was
so,
made for Greyhawk originally too, which is really cool.
So much so that you're going to be like, I don't understand what the plot is here, because right?
There isn't much plot. You go around, experience the village,
and there's all different sorts of factions of people within the village. This is the perfect starting point. And if you want, if you've seen on Anna's map, we're looking at this area up here. Right there. Here's Hamlet.
And I promise I will get to Hamlet and Nulb and the Temple Elemental Evil within a reasonable time frame, so to speak, at least within a couple of years.
You need to expand on your campaign. Let me turn this one off here. I got too much open. You need to expand on your campaigning in order to connect Hamlet to Temple of Elemental Evil, which is Nulb, and the temple itself. But Takor, that's the next one. But this is a great location and a great adventure, and you'll love it, and you may rerun it multiple times, and you may make it a base for where you go back to. And you'll start having Rufus and Byrne everyone has Rufus and Byrne in their campaign still, right? Like Will did, Blue Box did, everyone had Rufus and Byrne, and they're great characters out of that area of Hamlet. So that's number 1. That's recommendation number 1. And Sam, if you want to give some other ones here, that's great.
Okay, well, as it goes, I just put it up. I wrote this a while back, Tunluck. Taking Hamlet, the U series, Salt Marsh.
All right, let me bring this up here.
And Lendor Isles, L1 and L2, and UK 2 and 3, the Sentinel and Gauntlet.
Yeah.
And just turning them in, just mushing them all up and making them a really sprawling sandbox.
So hold that thought. We're going to go, because what do you think the next 2 I have are?
Well,
okay. So let's get to that. So what did I? Oh, I accidentally closed Salt Marsh out. Shoot! Give me 1 second. So all right. Secret of Bone Hill, and then we'll all connect them with what Sam did. It says 2 to 4. This is the sandbox number 2. Now I have one problem with Leonard Lakofka's stuff. I don't want to do it on Lendor Isle. I just don't. It's too far out of the way.
It's its own little mini setting.
So
on the contrary, if you want a neat little sandbox that is sandboxed off from everything else. It's a great place to start. You can make Lindor Isle your mini setting, and then you can escape to the mainland 5 years later, so to speak.
This adventure should be levels 1 to 4, but I know that Len's like, it's not an entry level adventure because I know Len, right? We talked, we talked to him forever before he passed. But this is such a great beginning. It is a sandbox too. There's so much going on in the lands around, right? Yeah,
absolutely
neat stuff. And there are little tidbits in here that Len was ahead of his time with writing adventures. Like on the cover is a Skelter and a Zombie are in here. He also has some weird things in here where you're crossing potions. Trust me, it's bizarre stuff. You're not going to see that in other adventures. You're also going to see some strange magic items that don't appear anywhere else. Like, I think they got to the point where, like, we're going to let Len do Len, but we're not putting him in publications after that point, so. And that's what I loved about Bone Hill. So Bone Hill is a great spot. By the way, these are all on my wall of fame. And then we're going to talk about 2 locations here, and then we'll connect them to Sam's. And all right, so the Salt Marsh series. By the way, as for beginners, if we come, I'll show you where. And I placed his Lindor Isle in different his L series somewhere else. Here we go. Here's where out here. That's where they take place. Okay. All right, you can put them out there. There's no reason you can't. Salt Marsh.
Okay. But I think that's part of Greyhawk is to keep those adventures in their original location. I think for me, I'm a geography.
Right.
And
I understand that 100%, Anna. But it's just like you may not want to be all over the place.
But rename it.
Yeah, that's true. I did that with N1 too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What's up, Wilson? Then you change the name, put the story somewhere else.
Jagger here, you should get Bone Hill and you should just run it, replace it. That one you can replace anywhere. Seriously. All right, so the series of Salt Marsh. If you are playing 5e now, there's something for you already that you can adapt, and that's Ghosts. So, all right, they redid this. It's very similar. There's some things in there that I'm not a fan of, but who cares?
Well, yeah, but it's interesting because Salt Marsh have now become its own little mini setting thanks to in the 5e
we talked to Wolfgang Bauer about this, and that's exactly what they wanted. So you have this reference, but if you can get, and you need to tie in all these together, and we're going to see Sam do that in a second, and I got to bring that up. But that is another recommendation. There are the so that gives you 3 starting points for our campaign. If you don't want to start from scratch and you want to experience the game yourself, that gives you 3 here. All right, we're gonna have a wonking thing here as I bring this up, Sam, to get yours in here. Let me do this. I got to keep on. Where is it? Scroll up. There you go. Okay. All right. So, Sam, what did you do here?
I just looked. Okay, these are the primary low-level adventures, 1st to 4th level, or 5th level, I suppose, if you go a little further with the U and L2. So what if you made a super sandbox out of them? What if you really just mushed them all together? How much does it need? Well, let's see. For L1 and L2, you need 2 small villages on the coast. Okay. For the U series, you need a village on the coast near a swamp. Okay. For T1, you need a village presumably in some hills. For N1, you need a village near a swamp. Are we seeing a pattern developing here? UK2 is about the hardest one to put in because you kind of need a couple of villages and a mountain.
Is that Sentinel and Gauntlet?
Yes, Sentinel and Gauntlet. But hey, there happens to be a mountain by L1 and L1.
Right. So when I ran Sentinel and Gauntlet, Sam, I did them as amorphous locations.
Yeah.
I didn't here we are. You know what I mean? I ran that in that haze of Greyhawk because I just So that's a good point.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe the hardest part is fitting in the keep in UK2, which is supposed to close off a mountain pass into any of the others. Right. It's not impossible.
There's UK 2 and 3.
It's not impossible. It can be done.
Yep.
And even in Saltmarsh, okay, you have a keep that guards, say, the trail from Saltmarsh to the town in New Meor on the other side, way across over on the border with the yeomanry, where what used to be Eeyore. So you could have a keep that guards that path between the forest and the swamp. It's a little bit different in intent, but it's there, and you probably want to change the fire giant to something else.
Right.
But now you have a handful of small towns, all these varying adventures.
Yep.
They're all in that first to fifth level range. You could it even provides a chance, slow down advancement, give some side quests before hitting the Sahuagin in U3. And like I say, you make a couple of tweaks, and there it is. So I just go on how to turn each of them into, add each of them to the locations of the other, and then a little bit on setting them in a different time.
I got way too much stuff open.
And even how you can move them heavily. So you could put it by Greyhawk. It gets a little odd, because the Nat Marsh isn't really on the coast, but why not?
I'm looking for the Cannon Fire Discord shout out.
You could even manage it up in Perrinland on Lake Quag.
There are so many options to place things, and I'm going to tell you that I do it all the time because, and this is great, Sam, because this gives you the opportunity to run all these with one group. But if you have patience, you may want to run these over 3 groups over 5 years, right? And you don't have to stuff them all in together.
Well, here's you can put them all together and then set your groups up to compete with each other for who gets to them first.
That's a good thing too. You can do that if you have the players, and that's the thing. Here you go. That may be outdated, but that has the whole site for Cannon Fire. To get this, go to the website and sign up there, and also the Discord. And if we need an updated Discord, I will help you all with that. L1 was an eBay pickup. Yeah, I love L1. So this is great. This is a great idea for help off of these adventures.
And I'll note, like I say, I did an article that actually is in Visions 2. There's a link for Visions about adapting the
free download,
all the letter code adventures for different times and some other notes on different places. So let's say you want to run the G series and not have it in the Crystal Mists and Hell Furnaces. Okay. Here are some other places you can put those adventures.
That's great, because sometimes a lot of people don't want to. Once again, when you spread your Greyhawk campaign out, someone like Anna will go, how are they getting all the way over there?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, I want to know where they come from. Why
exactly.
They go there,
so like,
them.
and that. So Sam's giving you some options there in that article on how this you can do this and where to play them. And I am guilty as charged. And I'll give you my example here as we come up here. Did I go by it? Where the heck's Orlane here?
Right. Now you buy it down a little and zoom in.
Zoom in a little bit west, slightly. There you zoom in.
Where is it?
Zoom in.
Am I looking right at it?
A little to the left.
A little bit west.
Little to the left.
West.
The other way. Left.
Yeah. Wait a minute. That's east.
Wait,
more. There you
now
go.
You go.
Right wait a minute.
No, you're right on it.
Here's
west.
Grand March.
That's
You're
north.
Go to the left.
West.
Yeah, west.
There you go.
A little more.
And now zoom in. A little bit more southwest.
A little more. There. It's now on.
There you go. Zoom
corner.
in. Zoom
Am I
in
looking right at it?
Yes, you're looking. Zoom in.
Now it's
I see it. Oh my
Zoom
gosh.
in.
Wait a minute. That is Grand March right here?
Yeah.
Well,
depending on what time frame you're talking.
It depends on how you interpret certain things.
Yes, it's a living Greyhawk kind of situation. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm like, what the heck? Okay. All right. Well, the maps are the maps. So, all right. So
Well,
here's Orleans.
it's the depending on what time frame you're talking. So yeah.
I had never run I've never run this adventure in my life. And if wait a minute. Sorry, man. I got so much open on this. I never had run this adventure. It's called the Reptile Guide, and we wanted to do it. And I'm like, I'm not starting a group over there. I'm starting a new group of Narwhal headhunters. It's simple. Here. So, right, Narwhal. Doing a whole bunch of adventures. I have all the Troller Game Adventures, the U series. I'm going to run them here too. I got the plan. So I set a plan up for this new group of characters. But I want to run against called the Reptile Guide. So Orlaine becomes Lorraine.
Yeah. You realize Lorraine Williams will be very pleased when she figured that out.
There it is. And I run against called the Reptile Guide here, and the base for the Reptile Guide somewhere out here. That is it. Simple. Yeah. It's okay. And no one's going to yell at me.
Yeah, but I guess if you adhere to TSR history, I guess we have to have a place named Lorraine.
Exactly.
in Greyhawk, that would be kind of fun.
But it's okay. Even I do.
Yeah,
I remember running the Salt March Trilogy from Home Campaign World, converting it to WotC had all three as a free download on their site. They did that site where they had the orange cover of Palace of the Silver Princes, and they had all these Skip Williams adventures. Remember Skip and is his wife Lorraine too? Skip and Lorraine Williams putting all those adventure cards in. Yeah, I remember that too, Jeremy. Mm-hmm. Jeff, I'll say this: Against the Cold, the Reptile Guide is not a starting even its first, it's not a starting campaign DM adventure. It is really hard to DM and to be successful in that, because that ending is really nasty for a group of second level characters. Yeah. So I would say that one is incorrectly placed at 1 to 4 and should be 2 to 5.
I'll agree.
yeah. And Sam, yeah, exactly. 2 to 5, I think, is where you want to put N1. I think Bonehill should be 1 to 4 or 1 to 5, and Cult of the God should be 2 to 4, 2 to 5 instead of 1. So that's just my opinion on that, because it is a nasty adventure, run properly. So yeah, you're absolutely correct, Jeff. But that doesn't mean you can't modify it. Now, this map, which is Anna's, we're going to go to Anna's map here for beginners. Please, anyone who's new, just say hey, and just ask questions too. Okay, I know we had a few people follow. This map is huge. This is the area of the Flannis that really has documentation. There's stuff down south with Sassarine now. TPKs all the way. There's stuff everywhere on this map. You can start an adventure anywhere. And let's go to Cannon Fire and show a great thing that they have done with everyone's assistance that really helps you. Did you put that in a link? Did you put that in a link there, Sam, the Adventure Finder?
Yeah, I put a link to my website where you can download this map for free, so you can watch it, view it online as well. So yeah.
So this is a great assistance for anyone new on the Cannon Fire site. Now this needs to be updated because there's some that have come out since from Carlos that aren't on here, but this shows every single Dungeon, Dragon Magazine, which are usually free downloads, adventures that were published, Carlos adventures, one of my adventures. They're all on this map somewhere. So all you need to do is go like this, and there you go. There's an adventure that Carlos did in the middle of the county. You look, we come up here, quadripartite. We go here. That should be N1 there. It's a great assistance for a new person, a new DM. Just clicking. There's Throne of Ayus up there. Really cool adventures. We come over to here. Evil Unearthed. Gazal, and that's on. I just placed a lot of these on the map. Here should be. Watch this. This should be. What's the one with the Cambion and the Sus Forest on the edge? Oh man, Die Marquesa Die. This is it here. Oh, that's Lord of the Scarlet Tide. But they're all. Gosh, it's on your map, Anna. Maybe that's it. Roland's and Old there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Just like and that's one with the Cambion in it. So they're all here. 95% of them are here. It hasn't been updated in like 2-3 years. So there's some new adventures. So, but this is a great. Is there a full size hard copy of a printable version of Anna's map? Go ahead, Anna, take that question. Lord Taker, a full size hard copy or a printable version of Anna's map?
Not if there are versions of them. You can get them at nobledwarf.com. Hang on a second. Nobledwarf.com. But the thing is that they are not full size. So when you print them, there might be some of the text is not visible because the maps are. It's too big to be printed normal means. It's like almost 10 feet wide. So that's the thing. But if you search for Greyhawk here,
Zavad just got running.
There we go. Here we
go.
go.
There you go. There. Great question.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. Thank you. Yep. So there you can find it, but it's not that the prints are bad. It's just that the map is so big that if you get a smaller size, you will not be able to read the fine print. That's the caveat. I'm working on the GIS version of the maps that will come in versions that are suited for print in various sizes, but that's not done yet, so to speak. But even then, you can't squeeze it in on a 40 by 60. You can't get all the stuff in there. It's impossible. So it will be, if you only want the major cities, then you can have a small map or you can have a small area and stuff. But that's the problem with all maps. So it's nothing new with Greyhawk, so to speak.
Big question here from about future editions, and I think Sam's going to take this one. Well, I'm not a newbie. How easy is it to introduce like Draconians, Goliaths, and Tieflings?
Okay.
Follow.
Well, Goliath's not really that difficult. They're supposed to be hanging out in the mountains for the most part.
Okay.
Draconians, they'd be a little more, well, they'd be a lot more questionable. There's simply not that many dragons running around
Still
the
dropped?
planet.
And
they probably wouldn't really be that, they'd be very noticeable. They'd really stand out. Everyone would think they're a strange kind of lizard man.
Okay. So, Draconians are very limited, right? But you can there is canon for them, but I would say you're going to put them in a very limited area. Goliaths, this is what I would do for Goliaths. You have two options. There are races called Verbeegs, right?
Just thinking that
the Verbeeg, very big, right? So the Verbeegs would fit the Goliaths greatly in Greyhawk, or the half ogres, which I use to this day, and we have an article, and Roger Moore will be on. He did a half ogre article, so tonight on the Ask the Experts we can show you that. There's a whole half ogre article that gives you some options there. What was the third one? And Tieflings. Tieflings are pretty easy.
Call them Cambions, and they fit into Greyhawk. Yep.
In the old school, there are two. The Cambions are male half-breeds, demons, and allo demons are female. But you can't. Tieflings are like little parts, so you could really fit a Tiefling. And the thing is that we're not used to it, but that's your Greyhawk. So I have some Cambions in my Cambions and allo demons, but I don't have any.
Doraka could be full of them, and
absolutely.
Too. Yep.
So you could fit them into your game, but they're not wandering around Greyhawk City with their horns out.
Right. That would be kind of that would require a lot of more massaging. Okay. Okay. One thing I'll touch. There's a couple of things I wrote. This sort of going backwards. These are intro things. So this is the first one. Again, these are all at cannon fire. Is I want to run Greyhawk, but I don't know the setting well enough.
Right.
And in a sense, okay, to some of this is a lot of stuff you always say, Jay, when you're describing why you do things differently. When we started, we had the folio.
That was it.
Okay. Technically, we had the G and the first two D modules. And we may have we had Tomb of Horrors, White Plume Mountain, and we may have had Village of Hamlet. Yeah,
that was it.
Yeah, which add, but yeah. So it's like no.
When this came out,
even one of the source books and glance through it, even if you just get the folio, yeah, you know enough to run Greyhawk. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, and that's why I recommend the 83 over the 80. There's more detail in it.
Right, but
I love the 80. That's where I started. Yeah.
That was something else I thought about. Okay, so the 80, the box set about doubles what was in the folio.
Yeah,
and most of that stuff comes from stuff in Dragon magazine. So yeah, even then, if you didn't have a subscription to Dragon magazine or couldn't get it at your game store regularly, yeah, you had the folio and that was it, and we managed. So don't worry about it.
Also, dragons are easy to come by if you know where to look.
Well, I meant back in the day.
But now, if you want more information,
now, right?
Yeah.
So we did so with the folio, and there are people who, lore masters, whether we're lore masters because we say we are or because other people say we are, I'll leave that up to others. You ask us, we'll answer questions. We'll happily answer questions. And the better ones will actually remember to distinguish, okay, the books say this, I do it differently like this. Whatever, that's the way we do it. How you do it, that's up to you. We can tell you what's there. We can tell you, what's going on. We can explain some weird things that you're just like, I don't understand what that means. Oh, well, it was revealed later it means this. Whether or not you want to do that, that's up to you.
Exactly. There's no right or wrong way to run Greyhawk. Okay.
Right.
So don't.
As long as you're having fun playing it.
Yeah. Here's the number one thing that I think. Well, there's two. There's 1A, 1 and 1A. Number one, I worry about ruining the canon for the Cannon Fire people or any of the other sites. It's not going to. Trust me, I've hacked it up more than anyone. And Les has, and Sam has, and Anna has. Yeah. Anna's got stuff on there that, I know Gary's shaking his head on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, and so do I. We all do. I have kumquats all over the place in that one.
No, but that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying. We all have the things that are different.
Right.
Anna's map of Selene is different. Anna's map of the Shieldlands is different than mine. That's okay. That's the wonderful thing about this. It doesn't matter. You're bringing your own spin on it. Here's number two. I think this is the one where if you start down this road, which I hope you do, and you grab 12 books, you're going to drive yourself insane, right? You need to start somewhere comfortable, play some games, expand out. Maybe start a second adventuring group with the same people. Let them get other characters and let them get a feel for it. Start a game in Greyhawk City. Start a game in Hamlet. There's no the lineal. All right, I think here's the number one thing. I think 5e. I'm going to blame Pathfinder a little bit on this.
Yeah.
I think the adventure path is a bad thing.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to tell you. Let me rephrase that. I think the adventure path has taken people down a wrong path of the game. If you take a character from first level to 20th or whatever, and then stop and get rid of that and eliminate that character, those characters are gone. Nothing happens with them. I think that eliminates a little bit of the breathing life into your setting. My suggestion is take a group of characters, run them from 1st to 5th. Go and do another group of characters from 1st to 5th. There's no reason those two character groups can't interact with each other. Experience other characters, other play styles, other character, things you want to do. Maybe I want to play a paladin in one, and maybe I want to play a backstabbing thief in another one. But if I got to wait running levels 1 to 20, does that make sense?
Well, it depends on the what your play style is.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, because for some people the setting, for some people like me and probably all of us, most of us here on this channel that view it, setting is the first foremost, meaning we are playing in Greyhawk and then we are using a game system. But for some people, it's the other way around. They are playing D&D, and it's the character building and playing the character and adding feats and getting more. That's the big thing. And where you play in Greyhawk or Forgotten Realms and stuff, that's flavor. That's the that's the icing on the cake. But the important bit is we playing the game, we're rolling the dice, and we adding the magic items, and we're doing all that stuff. And that's, I think you should look at adventure paths in that light, so to speak. It's for people that maybe you don't want to invest all your eggs in and put them in one basket and say, I'm going to play in Greyhawk. No, you want to buy every 6 months, you buy that big, awesome 128 or 200 pages adventure path, and you say, now we roll up characters for this, and then we play that story, and then say, okay, that was fun. Now we have these stories, and that's another way of playing the game. And I would see if you're investing and playing adventure paths, that's a play style. If that's what you focus on doing, that's a play style in itself. That is really cool, because you get awesome stories, you get that they are deep and rich and so on and so forth, but they're still limited to. That's like playing through Star Wars or playing through Lord of the Rings. Exactly. So it comes with bonuses, and it comes with trade-offs, and like all play styles, meaning you can't have everything. It's like, if you have that rich story that fits that thing, it's perfect for if you don't want to invest 10 years of knowing a setting and you're not that into world building, but you still want the stories and stuff, then adventure path might be the way for you to do.
I'm also saying there's nothing wrong with playing that, but if you want to learn and live in Greyhawk,
exactly, then if you're setting person and you're setting first, and you kind of the place you want to have your stories in, if that sounds really important to you, then buy the adventure paths if they're set in the place you want to game in, and then mine them for content. Play them first and then mine them for content. But Greyhawk is a place, and from our perspective, and especially from mine, the rule set and the stuff like that, that's secondary. You can tweak the rules to fit into your version of Greyhawk, so to speak.
I'll put in two things. One, there's nothing that says you can't run 3 adventure paths at the same time.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
I actually did that in a recent campaign. I started effectively 3 separate adventure paths and just had them merge and let the characters cross over between them.
That's a great way to do it.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
A second thing I'll note, okay, one of the reasons for adventure path is back in the day, okay, we sort of talked about this, the Tunluck, combining all those disparate adventures. People want a better connection between running random adventures instead of racing all over the map.
I agree 100%. I agree on that 100%.
And that's what adventure paths do. In addition to, for the Dancy report, giving something that players can do for a year and go from 1 to 20 and finish the game.
Yeah.
Right, but there's no finish to D&D. There's no finish to a campaign setting. That's it.
But
I agree.
That's what people said on the survey, and that's what they wanted to do.
Yeah. There is one other reason, I think, that both adventure paths and organized play give you. They give you a very good, thorough introduction into the game the game system, because when you pick a rule system, even if you're like me, a complete setting nerd, so to speak, you still want to master your own rule system, the one, whether you build it or whether you take one whole hog and use it, you still want to master and understand how it works. Organized play and adventure paths are really good because they tell you how to mechanically work with the rule system that you choose. So for that reason alone, even if you don't like the story, it might be a great way of introducing how do traps work and how do you set up encounters, how do you run an ambush using your rule system and stuff. That's things that, regardless of the setting, you want to understand how these things function well with the rule set you want to use.
Yeah.
And well, 2 other things I want to drop in again.
Yeah, please.
To starting stuff again. This is 2 more little things I put up on Cannon Fire.
Right, let me go here and do this again.
The second one follows off the first. These are introductions to the setting.
Okay.
The first one's a really raw introduction to the setting.
Mm-hmm.
People tell me about Greyhawk, explain the setting. It's like, okay, so here's 4 paragraphs explaining the setting. Yeah, 2 great empires destroyed themselves in the Twin Cats. 3 empires arose, and they've fallen, and now there was the final war, and now you're in the aftermath of the final war. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
And in the second one, I also have the question, what type of setting is it? And this is where I really jump, because there's always the arguments. Greyhawk is high magic, Greyhawk is low magic, Greyhawk is this, that, the other thing. I think the answer is Greyhawk is all of them. There are high magic areas, low magic areas, epic areas, sword and sandal areas. There's horror areas. There's sci fantasy areas. And I think that's a strength, because you can run a campaign on almost anything, any themed campaign, any playstyle campaign, anywhere in Greyhawk. So I don't limit it to it's this. Greyhawk is the standard European fantasy. No, it's not. There's areas on the starting map in the Flenage, just outside the Flenage, that are anything but your standard European.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's a fallacy.
Right. And so I say it's anything. It really does not fall into any of the basic, categories, the terms. It can do anything.
Absolutely.
And
Greyhawk's whatever you need to be. Yes, Gregor. Absolutely.
Yes, yeah. And then the second one, I expand a bit. I go a little bit more into the major areas.
Yeah.
And this is 591 set, so you modify it if you need the Great Kingdom to be still existing.
Right.
So there's the Free City, there's Alyssa, Northern Erde, Niron, Furiundi, Keelan, Zaith, and the other things that go around it, and then some minor nations. And again, this is just really short, 1-2 page introduction. It's less than the folio. It's less than the folio in terms of content and scope, but it's to give you an overview of the proper nouns that are scattered about and what sort of stuff is available. So a new DM can say, "Oh, that sounds kind of interesting. Let me pick that area," and get right. To help them decide what area to research. As Anna had said earlier, you find an area, then you just study up on that area before you start.
Mm-hmm. And a thing for everyone, and I'll give Anna. Anna, so you've been in the Shieldlands for 5 years, right?
5 years now. Yeah.
Before that, you were in Real Devon, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And you're gonna do a little Celine stuff afterwards, correct? Is that that's where you're gonna go?
I haven't set it absolutely in stone, but I think I want to do Elven after this. So I think it will be Celine when it's in its neighborhood. So
3 locations over how many years? 20?
15. 20 years.
15 to 20
at
years.
least 50. Yeah, over
3
20
locations.
years. Yeah.
How about you, Sam? How about you? You're in your game.
But the thing is, I ran the L series, so I did Lendor Island for long enough to run that. I did the E series, so Southern Keelan, all the letter codes. I ran them all, and so it was everywhere, here, there, anywhere, long enough to do it.
Yeah, we had one. Sorry, go ahead.
When I started doing more, somewhat longer campaigns, I tried mostly doing around the Free City. But then, of course, Living Greyhawk came along, and everything I did was focused on the Sheldamar.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, and you're an aficionado of Keeland.
But even since then, I've wandered. I've up and down the Sheldamar. I did a campaign in Hepmona Land and the Pearl Sea, and then another campaign in the Pearl Sea.
Are your characters in your campaign, when they retire them, are they still active in the background?
Yes. I think about half of the campaigns I've done, the new characters have been apprentices or descendants of the characters from the previous campaign.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's even the one I did that started in the Sheldamar moved to the Pearl Sea, I had characters from the first campaign I had started with it, or I had inherited with this, a Night Below variant. I had characters from that show up. The players met them or their descendants. Going, wait, what's going on? They just wandered through.
Interaction's key, and that's what I think that makes it
Yeah.
breathe a little bit of life into it. Just go ahead, Anna.
Yeah, I was going to say we made a little excursion to the Wild Coast to get the banner of Elmore and stuff. So
Cool.
so that I had placed. It was the Lord Mistrine got it. So they were so that
Love
was a
Lord
little
Mistrine.
escapade from the Rel Devon to excuse me.
Oh, you all right?
To the Wild Coast for a little bit. Yep, that was the only. Otherwise, it was Rel Devon and it's close. Yeah, I don't think we went outside of the Principality of Rel Devon for well over 5 years.
All right, so let's talk. Let's just talk edition real quick. Game style.
Yep.
We've talked setting neutral here, as far as what edition. It really, and in my opinion, doesn't matter what edition you play because there's so much data out there that is set at neutral. You play old school like me. You play 3E like a lot of people do this day, or Pathfinder. You play 5th edition, which a lot of people do. You play Castles and Crusades. You play OSE. You play OSR. You play
and now
OD&D.
Shadow Dark and
Shadow
exactly.
Dark.
Yeah, I mean there's so many options now. Yeah,
you can go
basic
on and on.
fantasy role play, whatever from Chaosium, the D100 percentage or D100 system. I mean, there are many.
It doesn't matter what edition you play. Everything could be adapted, and there's a lot of adaptations for 5e on modules out there on drive-through. Yeah. Rollmaster, it doesn't matter, man. Absolutely. You can do that. So
the only thing I say on edition is that the later materials from 3E through 5E have a somewhat faster pace, or a much faster pace in some cases. They really have a focus in adventure structure to get you in and out to 20th level in a year or so.
Yep.
Which is insane.
Of course.
But that's okay.
Of course, I know from experience with a lot of the Paizo adventure paths, even if you play every week for 8 hours, finishing some of those adventure paths in a year, good luck with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, 12 adventures. What's up? What's up there, Scott?
You have to play at least once a month, or probably every 2 weeks, or once a week in order to.
Right.
Go through.
Even that. Good luck. You're not gonna manage it. They really need about 2 years to complete. In 18 months to 2 years. But yeah, that's about the only thing. So a lot of the later adventures are really designed that you're leveling up at a very constant rate in each adventure. That's somewhat disconcerting if you're used to AD&D or previous.
And once again, that is if you're going to pick an adventure path that runs you through 1st through 20th.
Yeah.
A lot of them don't. A lot of them don't. A lot of them go 1 to 12 now.
Oh yeah. They changed that. They kind of realized it wasn't working.
And so in 44 years of my campaign, I've asked this question multiple times. How many player characters of mine from 1st level have made it to 20th? Player characters in my campaign with all Allens and Toms and Walts and Tims, and how many of them have made it to 20th? How many characters? Anyone? 2?
I think
0.
I was going to say Varl was first.
0 is the answer. I have 1 character. He's an 18th level halfling thief, straight, which goes up super fast. 18th is the highest.
Yeah.
And most of them stop at 13th level roughly, and we get into that. Yeah. It's just with a couple. A lot.
I played 1 character. I played 1 Pathfinder, 1E adventure path from 1st level to 20th level. That was a gnome sorceress. That's the only character I played to 20th level.
What path was it?
It was the original, the Giants of the Rune Lords.
Okay. Rise of the Rune Lords.
Yeah, Rise of the Rune Lords.
And that was the first one, wasn't it?
I think it's one of the exactly. It was one of the early ones. We played it a couple of years after because it was such an iconic, so we felt like we needed to play it. So and that was a really fun character, and that was a cool experience. We played, I think, every 2 weeks, so we played like 60, 70, or maybe 80 sessions. That was the first games I played online. We started live and then we moved away from each other. So we started playing online, and that's almost 10 years ago. Yeah. Yeah, it's about 10 years ago now. Yeah, 2014,
Look,
13, 14. So, yeah.
Lord Klein, I have no idea. And
Yeah.
so here is the point of this discussion, why I wanted to do this, and the point of we're going to do a lot more entry level legends and lores
Yeah.
and Gabbins once that Dungeon Master's Guide comes out with that, because we want the new Greyhawk people to have a place to go to. Okay.
Yep.
I don't know the answer to that. If there's a lot of transiency going on, but my guess is you may get 1 out of every 10, 1 out of every 5, or whatever it is that gets hooked on. Wow, I love the setting, and I love the options, and I love the lore, and I love that I can place mine and do whatever I want in the setting. It's basically a homebrew. It's just set in Greyhawk. Homebrew is the big thing. Everyone's here homebrew. How many? Besides, I can think of 2 on Twitch. How many homebrew settings really catch on all over the place? Not many, but Greyhawk's been around for 44 years, right?
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons is simply because it was the setting that when D&D became big, it was original. It was simply because there were very few options in the early days, so to speak. So it was.
So
I think there's just a certain prestige associated with it because of how old it is and the connection to Gygax.
Yeah.
That said, I'm going to give you an example of something that I think that is just a mindset that's incorrect because of it's in the book. So if you watch Thursday Night with Ed Greenwood playing, Ed Greenwood's got a 9th level Greyhawk mage. Alan has a character named Garth Warmonger. He's a 10/10 half-orc fighter cleric who's got like this crazy. His motto is, "I don't think there's a thing alive that can kick my ass." Right? That character is only 10/10, and that character has been developed since like 90. I'm gonna say maybe a little earlier now. 87. He's been playing that character on and off. Man, he loves playing that character. That character, if that character's 20th level, it wouldn't make sense in my game, right? 20th level characters just aren't walking around. Everyone, the high is, in my game's 13, 14, 15. That's really, really high. But that 10 character is special. The level doesn't matter on how high you get and how powerful you get. The development of the character is what matters. When you get to a lord status in the game, things change. That's my point. If you're a level creep, I think I'm not bashing 3rd edition. It was a race during Living Greyhawk era, right? You had to get more and more powerful with what they were putting up against you. You just had to, and I think maybe 5th got a little bit of that back. So, but that's edition doesn't matter. It's the play style. Obviously, the level 20 characters are obviously running the shops and bars. Well, there aren't any in my game. There aren't any. So Tensor is not 20th level. Jalarzi's not 20th level. Now I think Rary's 25th, which is insane. Mordenkainen, I think maybe he's 20th, 21st, right? As far as the highest level, especially the highest level priest I know of is 18th level in the game, and that's out of the Greyhawk adventure, the Greyhawk box set. Yeah, that's the thing. Surely Malden and Elendiri must be in your campaign world. Well, Malden, yeah, of course. Of course I have them in my campaign world because I have your shop on the map. But that's the thing, is level is relative to the campaign setting. If you want to play a campaign setting where they're all 20th level, that's fine. That is one of the things I bash Ed on. Did you read the Harper's book? There are 30th level characters wandering about in there, right? Yeah, that's what I say to Ed. I said, Ed, man, you got some powerful characters in your campaign.
This is something I've commented on. There's sort of a thing. Okay, you have the rule books.
Yep.
And they go up to, even the AD&D rule books, they go up to 18th level for the wizards or higher. They go up to 9th level spells. You have all these awesomely powerful magic items. Well, it's in the book. I want to use them. I want to play with them. What do you do? Yeah, so that means, yes, getting characters up to 18th, 19th, 20th level, 30th level. It's that sort of conflict.
You need to enjoy the journey to the character going up in levels. I guarantee you that Ed and his character Revelantar in my game, his Greyhawk mage, he'll tell you he's had a blast with him, and he's 9th level. He just turned 9th.
Yeah, meaning now meaning I played for 40 years, and to be honest, I love 0 to 5th level is still my favorite in a lot of sense. But on the other hand, playing, I like running, and especially with new players, don't give them characters that are high level to begin with, because they don't know what to do with them in the beginning.
Right.
You want to advance the basics when things aren't that super dangerous and stuff. And that's the thing. And also you need to, that I think is one thing. The setting should not decide the rule system, but your play style should choose a rule system that suits your play style. If you want high level play, you want to have characters that run around wielding artifacts, and you want to do really cool superheroic stuff with then you should suit a rule system that facilitates high level play in an interesting, meaningful, effective way, so to speak. Don't choose, maybe I don't know Shadow Dark, but to me it doesn't seem like something for long, and the same thing for persistent campaign play. If you want to world build and long arcing campaigns, you need to have a rule system that supports that play style. So rule systems should be carefully chosen,
right,
because of play style, not because of what setting you put them in, because you can tweak them. If you're running Dragonlance or Forgotten Realms or Greyhawk, you can tweak any of the rule systems to any of the settings, but the play style is way more important. Meaning, do you play like one shots? Do you want to have quick, cool things that you run for conventions, or do you want to run like a West Marchy style where the characters come and go, long, persistent campaign and stuff?
That's me.
Yeah, exactly. So that is where you want to the play style should choose the game system you choose. So you get something that is effective in the way you want to tell the stories and how you want to interact with your players and what you want to do around the game table, so to speak. That I think is key. And I've adventured with several groups that I think have chosen the wrong rule system because they seem to fight the rule system the whole time. And if you think that if you need to house rule too much or whatever, meaning I ran into that trap. Now I'm saying, okay, I don't house rule. I'm making my own version of D&D basically, so I get it the way I want it. But that's a huge undertaking, so I don't recommend it. But it's one way out of it. So
my ray's not right. Yeah. Anna's isn't right. Sam's isn't right. Les's isn't right.
Yeah.
It's whatever you decide to run your game. If you want to run that game with high, that's fine.
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong. As long as your players are enjoying themselves, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Exactly. And it's also something that will probably evolve. If you're coming into it, then pick 5e, pick Pathfinder, pick one of the big ones and start playing with it. Get a feel and then study the other. If you feel like this is wonderful to use 5e or Pathfinder or D&D first edition, then wonderful. Just stay with it. If you don't have any issues with it, don't even look at the other ones. But if you feel like, oh, I would love to do this, and why doesn't the rule system do, then you go to a big convention, sign up for a game that has a different game system, play a little bit, get a feel for how that felt, so to speak. And it's not only the rule system, also how do different DMs play. And both online now you have a chance to play with a bunch of different DMs doing things in very different ways. And that's another thing. Learn, that DM runs initiative this way, and that DM presents things in a different way. Then take good ideas and input from other DMs you like, and then mix and match these things together, and then find the rule system that you feel like it's the tool. Meaning, look at the way I look at it. The rule system is the toolbox you use in order to at the game table. And for the type of job you want to do, you need the right toolbox, and the rule set is a toolbox. That can be tweaked, of course, but it's always good to start with the basic toolbox that has the right tools for the jobs you wanted to do. And we have different needs for depending on how we run our games. So we want to have different needs. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep, definitely. We could do a stream of high level play, Dennis. That'd be, you have to be on that because you have absolutely. Yep. So what other questions you all have? I know I just talked to Garner and he's having some tech issues, so we're going to hold off a little bit here and stretch this out a bit because it
Yeah.
was right in the first game of the day that's live streamed, which is Ghost Tower of Inverness. So currently playing OSC and Greyhawk with about 6 house rules. There you go. House rules are great. House rules are great.
Oh yeah, every group house rules. I think it's organized play is the only exception to where you things need to be standardized, so to speak. But every game you run at home, you will house rule it to at least some level, so to speak. And I think that's great because that means that you adapt the game to your needs at the game table, to your group's needs.
So Tim, I'm going to it depends on your edition, but I'm going to say, and this is T-Sets, I'm going to say that's because of the way the classes are being run. That's all I can say. It doesn't work that way in my game, trust me. You'll see, like for example, on Thursday nights, we had all these shock troop devils at the top of the ziggurat, and a gnome, Tom's gnome, used a sling, critical hit, and hit the devil right here in the head and killed one. And it wasn't a hack and slash. The fight was all over the place. And it wasn't a hack and slash. It wasn't all the wizards blasting. That was part of it. It was a combination. I think it's a matter of the play style that determines that where the bashing goes, right? If you're playing a traditional old school without modifications, your wizards are very weak to start. I've made changes so they're not.
Well,
yeah, so.
Yeah, I'll say what Tim said. That's very much in the situation with 3E. It was really commented on that after a certain point, it becomes rocket tag. Who wins initiative and kills the big bad on the other side first. Or, it kills a particular character. Usually kill the wizard, then kill the cleric, then call it a day. Then it's clean up.
Right.
But that's because of how those rules are written. And that's an issue with the rules. And that applies to Pathfinder 1 as well.
Oh, yeah.
So you do have to do things if you don't really like that.
Yeah.
You do have to do things to get away from it, which takes experience and
that's the other thing, meaning some games rule systems are great for low level play, meaning Pathfinder 1 was fantastic for low level play, but then it kind of go offhand for a high level play. And there might be some rule systems that are boring up to a point and then they might fly really well at high level. I don't know, but a lot of rule systems tend to be overcomplicated at high level, and it's hard. And that's one of the things that I've trying desperately hard with Hawktails to make high level play function well. If I succeed, we'll see. But at least it's one of the things that I known have gone wrong in other systems that I played. So now at least I know what I want to try and solve. If I will able to solve it, that's another issue that we will see. But at least I played. Yesterday on my game, I ran 7 or 8 level characters, and it seemed to run almost as fast as my play test with first and third level characters. So in that sense, it passed. But that was only 8 level is like mid level. So we'll see if that persists when we get higher up. I'm not sure yet. So we'll see.
XT, I'm going to say this on that idea of running a Sul Empire game. That's great, Sul Empire early, but. There's not a lot. You have to make up all the lore yourself because there's very little. There's some, but not a lot. It's the equivalent. Okay, then I was going to say.
Go ahead.
It's the equivalent of running Numenor or the Witch King of Angmar in the Second Age in the Middle Earth, which you're going to make up a lot of it, but it'd be really cool to run something in it, right? Pre Third Age. Same thing. Same thing.
And that gives you options. That's a cool thing. It gives you a little bit of inspiration, and then you can run with it. So,
Dennis, I'm glad to hear it. And 2E's got some balance to it. It does. I mean, we all have custom house rules we do to tweak and make sure it's fair. And but yeah. So, 3 Death Saves, 5th edition. Some people make changes. Make changes to your setting rules as you go. And you learn from them. And listen, as a DM, running a setting is really awesome. Learning how to constantly play test as a DM, it's a whole nother discussion. And you have to do it every time you DM. And then you take the notes mentally or written down. I need to make this improvement. It's a constant change. I mean, Anna's doing it right now with her game.
Oh yeah, and one of the takeaways I did yesterday is that I need character sheets for my players. A simple stat block doesn't cut it. So that's lesson number 2. And for Gamehole Con, I need character sheets. So that's assignment number 1 to this afternoon, tonight, and tomorrow is to make a character sheet. So there is something that can present their character in much better light, so they can be playable in a different way. So that's
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm responding to a
yeah.
Yep.
Yep. So there's a lot of these things, and it comes with the house ruling too. If you need it, then you need to, and that's the same thing goes with both campaign material, and that's something we should talk about too. How do you record your stuff? Meaning, how do you keep track of things? How do you track a campaign? How do you track your own lore when you do things? How do you collect and research stuff? And if you want to run a persistent campaign, how the heck do we? Meaning, Jay has his system, I have my system, and I'm sure Sam has some awesome system he's made up that work for him. I think that is one of the discussion we need to have for beginning DMs too, that aspires to it. If you just want to run adventure paths or written or pre-made adventures, perfect. But if you want to homebrew, world build, run persistent campaigns, West Marches style, whatever, you need to keep some sort of system to record this. And that is something I think we can.
Yeah, absolutely. Another thing we can talk about. We
Yeah.
can talk about that in a future discussion.
Because there are many different ways of doing it. And as a beginner, you need to see what options are so you can pick the one that suits you, because it depends on your play style, how your mind works, and what tools you like to play with, so to speak.
Yeah. XT, you're thinking of big picture stuff well beyond a beginner. You know, that's kind of stuff that is well beyond the beginning.
Yeah.
So
but to plan the and to pick the right tools early on that works for you. There's no right tools, but the right tools for you, so to speak, as a beginning DM to record things and track and keep track of things, and when you play your games, that is really important. So you don't have to switch later on because you didn't even thought about it to begin with.
Live. Okay, so they're coming on. All right, so Sam, what do you got? What do you got in closing here?
No, I think we really went over almost everything in terms of starting out in Greyhawk. You know, starting out the basic stuff that you don't have to know everything. You can start almost any time. You can move stuff around. Make it yours and have fun with it. Don't worry about the massive stuff that exists. Pick something and do it, and then just run with that. And don't worry if it's different from other people. It's even the people who are supposed to know everything. Yeah, you said I don't know everything. I'm a Sheldamore expert. I've slowly expanded that a bit to other areas. I still don't really have a clue about the Great Kingdom, real details about Rizia or other places. I'm still working on that. Yeah, if you're going to study it, it takes a long time. Actually, there's one thing I would add. If you do want to start deep diving the lore in the published books, the books are written in a way that you have to read not just the area you're interested in, but everything immediately surrounding it. You can't just read Keeland without reading all about the Ulex, Jeff, Yeomanry, Sterich, Sea Princes, Grand March, and Bissell. You have to read all those entries, and then even look a bit into Ket and Valuna and Celine and Wild Coast and Polemarch to really know all there is about Keeland. And that the same applies to other areas. You have to read your area and then try to read the stuff around it, and because the history's written in this really piecemeal fashion, little bits of lore scattered everywhere.
Yep.
Use some common sense too. Like, you don't have to start your campaign at first level and then read. You know, you need to pick and choose, right? So if you're starting something in this area over here near Axewood, just know the background information and then bring out a little bit at a time. Don't go overwhelmed. Don't get overwhelmed.
Oh, actually, I was going to say that was something else I had put in the first one. You know, I'd like to run Greyhawk, but I don't know about it. You've said it. You know, you had to do a reset on some of your timeline.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't worry about picking an area and messing up. We all did.
Absolutely.
We all did.
Yeah.
And you know what?
Oh, yeah.
Greyhawk's so big, you can go to another area, start over there,
Mm-hmm.
100%.
And then 10 years later, the original is wonderful nostalgia you can laugh at and
you can
enjoy.
go back to the original area.
We call it our Monty Hall
10
era.
years later,
Yeah, exactly.
things were cleaned up.
That's what we do.
They cleaned that area up.
Yep.
Yes. So yeah, that's another thing. Don't worry about jumping in and you don't know it. We didn't. Don't worry about jumping in and making mistakes. We did. There's enough there that you can still find a place and make it your own.
Yep.
It is a wonderful place to, in my opinion, Greyhawk is a wonderful place to play and to experience and to change and to mold to your own, love. And that is the thing. And you'd be surprised. You come out after a year maybe and you'd be like, wow, I really am loving what's going on with this. Let me expand here. I'm going to start a new group in another area. I'm going to let you know what I mean, and that's how it came with me. And then you listen to your players. Number one thing you want to do is make sure your players are bought into what you're doing.
Yep.
Take their advice. I've let them make up custom spells, custom character classes, right? Ideas for the next group of adventurers. I've done all that, and it's worked. And from there you build, and you keep on building. So. Yep.
Yeah, meaning as a player, you should respect the DM's wish to run the game and how they want to run the game. But as a DM, you need to do the opposite. You need to respect your players and listen to them, because that way you can kind of riff off each other over time, so to speak. It's a ballet that is done better at times and worse at times, but it's something to strive for, so to speak. And always remember what we sometimes forget: it's just a game. Greyhawk doesn't really exist. It's only a game. We're here to having fun.
Setting.
To have fun. Yeah.
Enjoy yourself. Do the best you can, and have fun with it, and make something that your players enjoy, and you'll know because they'll come back each week.
Yep.
And that's it. And then you'll know you're on the right track.
Yep.
So that's something I've said when I face criticism from certain people. You think my campaign stinks? Okay, whatever. My players who have been with me for X years, they don't. Their opinion matters to me way more than you, who have never sat at my table and never will.
Yeah. So, that is a true thing, and let me tell you something. It's not been a rose garden at all. We've had some arguments, but that's part of real life. Yeah. Yeah. So, it's going to happen. But the one thing is, if you're DMing, what you come up with is final say. But that doesn't mean you can't discuss it afterwards and go, you know what? You're right. I think maybe in the future we need to make this change.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly.
You can do that. You can make this change. We've done a lot. Our game has evolved. So right now here's a quickie one. This is really convoluted, but I'm in a fight with my players over. I want to retcon back my first edition bards, where the hit points for in bard just go scale up like crazy because they become
good to have more hit points. Yeah.
150 hit points when everyone else at 9th, 10th level has 100 at most. It's a little crazy, but so I'm working on that. That is what's been going on for the last 5 years. So just the little things happen in the game, and you'll understand that. Any other questions? No, they're triple class XT. They're triple, but the first class, the thief, goes past the fighter, then may get a hit die. But the bards starting at second level getting hit dice instead of surpassing the highest level, and that's the problem. And that's what I'm re-implementing. Yep.
So I agree with you on that, Jay.
Yeah. Triple. Their first prestige class. Yep. So it's a hit point creep that I'm working on to make sure that and it's part of the game. It's part of. I'm still waiting. I'm not going to raid into Catagood until he's off of there's an adventure about to begin screen as well here. So we make all changes, and you make changes. You do. Yes, it has to make sense, and it has to be. There may be some people upset with your changes, which is okay. But as long as that it works better off for the group in the future, that is the way to go. And they go, oh yeah, this made sense, and I'm enjoying it more. So. Alrighty. So Anna, what do you have going on the rest of the day? Yeah, just SD Experts tonight.
Yeah, exactly. That's the only other thing going on today.
All right. So SD Experts is tonight. So how about you, Sam?
Pretty much just hanging around.
Okay, so you're not in any games.
No.
Okay.
I have a little bit of real life in between here. Yeah.
All right. So we got the Ghost Tower of Inverness, and then we have. So let me bring that up. The rest. What's going on the rest of the day today, and for Virtual Con on. Yes. So this is the highlighted stream schedule for the rest of the day. Yeah, they do get a huge amount of hit die. So Ghost Tower of Inverness 12 Catacomb Gaming. I'm still waiting for them to pop up off of We Will Be Ready screen. There's still adventures about to begin the screen. So wait a second. Check your chat. You got a player trying to get in. All right, I sent it. I'm just trying to help here. All right, so here's what we got going on. We got that, then we got a Far Cry Guild Superior at 3, and then we have the SD Expert show with some great people. Malden's been on here. We got Roger Moore, we got Joe Block, and we got Alan Grodall Growy, and we're going to give away the first 3 Greyhawk Achievement Awards that we've ever done from the con. So, yep. When you get, there's all sorts of things. Hey, I'm never tired in the Surface, Janitor. Never, because I have only scratched it. I'm only playing about of the published Flannis, what, 1/4? 1/4 or a third of it. So I'm never going to get tired. Sparky, yeah, man, we've been running hard there. So, yep. Yeah.
I've said that when people ask about, what I'm writing for Greyhawk. It's like, it's taken me really 20 years to do a Sheldamar source book. Even if I accelerate that and get it down to maybe 5 years per meta region equivalent, by the time I finish, it'll be time to go back and redo the original one. There's so much to do in Greyhawk, so much to do in the Flannays.
There is. I am making an effort. So holding off here. Now it's a blank. You got a blank screen up.
Okay. Yeah, Janice said, yeah. And then there's going under.
Yeah, the whole Underdark is another whole place. And if you want Underdark stuff, Dennis, if you're still on Malden, just link your Underdark passages and stuff in chat, man. Wow, it's unbelievable what he's done there. He's done some unbelievable things. So if Dennis is in there still. All right, so let me. Yep, thank you. Link it. Yep. And then, all right, and here we go. Ask the Experts. It's going to be a fun discussion. Wait till you hear the number of giveaways I have. Where's that book? I have 5 from Frog God. 4 from Frog God. At least 3 from Troller Games. 1 from Gamescape 3D, and I may have another one from The Printing Goes Ever On for the end. So that is exciting. We got a ton of giveaways, which are going to be, yeah, there's Malden's link. It's going to be a real fun time. And some great discussions with some unbelievable people. And it will go as long as we have to that night. We always go late on this one. So it won't be just 2 hours. So, yep.
I'll have to remember to come back for that.
Yeah, it'll be a fun one. It'll be really good people in that. So
yep, it'll be fun.
Yeah,
and ask Malden about the Great Iron Gate Canal.
Yes, we have to. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So he's got the Temple of Mental Evil up now. So we're making it look. All right. All right. So. All right, so there you go. It's all working. It's being worked. All right, so please be patient. Let's do the giveaways, everyone here. All right, and if you have other questions, we're going to have a ton of shows coming up on entry level Greyhawk. We're going to have a lot of theme based ones. Maybe go with deities and classes and locations, all that. So we're going to, of course, I really appreciate. I never thought we'd have this many people watching on a Sunday morning, and now it's Sunday early afternoon. But I really appreciate all of that. So two $10 gift certificates to Troller Games. I'll give them right out. All right. So last call. Exclamation point drawing. Anna, thanks a lot. We'll see you tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sam, we'll see you soon too.
Yep.
Yeah, man. Just hanging out there. It'll be a fun discussion. So, yep. Don't be. Yeah, absolutely. All right, here we go. I'm going to close this out. Here we go for winners. Touch of Evil, Lord Takor. There you go, both. I will put them right in your Twitch chat. Both of you, for those wins, you'll get those very shortly. Yep. Alrighty. We got 78 coming in here. I hope that are they still waiting here. Hopefully, all right. I'm going to, we'll give it 2 minutes, and then we're going to get out of here and raid in no matter what, because I got stuff I got to get done. So, of course, streams. It was a wonderful stream. Note that we are always looking for other channels to get involved. We're looking for bloggers. We're looking for streamers. We're looking for writers. We're looking for a lot of streams, and people are looking for players, DMs.
Yep.
You paint your window trim, Tim. Man, you're a better man. You're a better man than me. I'm not painting any window trim anytime soon. So yeah, that's it. Yeah, Malden say the scratch. Yeah, the hobloggers. Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Hobbloggers, that's awesome.
The hobbloggers, that's hysterical.
Hobbloggers and squirrels.
Oh my
that's great.
That's funny. That is funny. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm typing in on here time frame. Alrighty. So I'm going to raid into them with this group. Stick around, lurk. Thank you for the chicory. Thank you for the follow. Really appreciate it. Enjoy the community. The community's ever growing. A lot of us go to GaryCon in March. We had like 50 people there from the community. Number 2. Some of us are going to Page, Philadelphia Area Gaming Expo in January. I'll be there. Anna will be there. Troller Games will be there. A lot of my players. Mysterious Tim is DMing there. So we'll have that going on. And then there's always shows. Legends and Lords on Wednesday. My normal game with my players is Thursday. Sunday nights are Gabbin, and next Saturday I don't have a banner for it. I got to get that set for tonight.
Yeah.
I have another Ed Greenwood 2-drink minimum game Saturday night coming up. The title is it's Time of the Season is the name of the adventure. So we'll have Ed Greenwood in there with Tony Winslow Brill. Astro Lyra was on in chat. We have Eric Mengi, Eric Boyd, Anna. We have a great group for that next Saturday at 6 p.m. So we've got a lot of great stuff coming up.
And in 2 weeks, I will not be on Legends and Lore because I will be at Game Hall Con.
Oh, that's awesome. That's fantastic to hear.
Yeah, and they have a special party for guests and
great
stuff on Wednesday when Legends and Lore.
That
so I will not be on.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
That's at least a reasonable reason to not be on Legends and Lore. You're at the game convention. Yeah.
Phantom, I am rating in 1 minute, no matter what. I got it. I'm putting it on the air chat. Phantom 491. I'm rating in 1 minute because I'm holding the guests here, and I don't like. I hate doing that. So, but yeah, we got a lot of wonderful things going on in the community, and just enjoy it. Pick and choose what you digest. That's what I would say. All right, let me write these down here. Touch of Evil, and I'll send them out right shortly. All right, Evil TDR, got it. And the other winner was Lord Takor, got it. All right, _Takor. I'll get them right out to you both. I have them, so let's do it because I got so many giveaways coming that the more I get out now, the better. Yeah, the join Cannon Fire. It's a great website. even if you don't want to get on the Discord, just join the website, and
Oh yeah,
you'll
you
be like, "Oh my
definitely
God,
do.
look at all this information here."
Mhm.
You
Yep.
know, that's a highly recommended thing to do. So I'm shutting down everything here, and all right, I'm going to set the raid up. Here we go. I'm going to raid into them, and hopefully people are ready to go. Here we go. See you soon. See you tonight, 7.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. Let me get to the right thing, setting the raid up. And it's fun. I always go do my, you know, into the stream manager and doing it that way because, you know, can't teach an old dog new tricks, I guess, for me.
Yeah, but
So.
you're a Twitch expert, so yeah.
Well, it doesn't mean I'm doing it the right way.
No, but you figured out the way to do it in 10 different ways, and being an expert is that you do it the complicated way.
Yeah, so true.
Yep.
Alrighty.
Okay, I need to get going.
Go
here
for it.
because,
Yep,
yeah,
see ya.
Because, see you afternoon.
Have a good one.
Good to see you again, Sam. Bye.
Nice to see you. Have a good
All right, here
day.
we go. We're raiding in with like 65, 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll see you later today. Thanks, Sam.
You're welcome.
All right, man. I'll talk to you soon.